Chapter 2091. City Lord. The person with the best result among Peach Blossom City's disciples is Yun Fei. He is already ranked 5,000th in Secret Realm 98. Lei Hao is slightly weaker, ranked 7,000th or so. As for Xiao Chun, he is 9,000th or so. He did not obtain many Faux God Spirit Jades. There's no rush. It has only been 3 days. We can't make out much. However, I have high hopes for Yun Fei. Although this stage is cruel, I believe that he can clear it. The 13 wind controlling swords gives him an advantage over these sovereign personages. And Xiaochen is still too young. The examinees who came to take the test this time are still too young. The main participants are great perfection sovereign personages 300 or 400 years old. There are very few who are under 100 years old. There's no rush for Xiaochen. He is still 50 years old and does not fight. He will definitely get a second chance. 3 days had passed since the first stage of the test. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor and Senior Cui discussed the 3 disciples they valued the most. However, they could not make out much in these 3 days. Many experts were familiarizing themselves with the environment of the secret realm and would not rush to make a move. The current rankings did not matter too much. The changes happened too quickly. Soon, 10 days had passed since the first stage of the test. Of course, to these sovereign emperors sitting on their thrones in the starry heavens, 10 days was just the blink of an eye. Given their long lifespans, they had developed a patience that others did not have. 1/3 of the test had already passed. The sovereign emperors present started to make some progress. The rankings of the top cultivators in many secret realms were already fixed. Among them, many dazzling experts left a deep impression on the sovereign emperors present. This secret realm 8's Wu Meng is really strong. Meeting him is simply a nightmare for the other participants. So far, no one has lasted more than 10 moves against him. The weaker ones could not even last 3 moves. Wu Meng is also very murderous. Several people fell for his moves too quickly. The realm spirit nearly failed to rescue him. Secret Realm 50's Shi Mingxian is also incredible. There are many good seedlings this time. Unfortunately, each secret realm can only pick 100 people in the first stage. Everyone, don't rush to conclusions. It has only been 10 days. The sovereign emperors discussed among themselves. However, the purple-haired old man showed an unsightly expression, because he found that among the 100 secret realms, only a few of the top examinees were from the Barren City assessment area. This was the largest test in history. If the desolate city couldn't even compare to some of the outer regions, it would be a great loss of face. Furthermore, Desolate City was one of the top 10 cities in the Heaven Alliance out of the 100 test zones. Fortunately, some of Xing Ji's disciples were rather eye-catching. One of them was ranked in the top 3 in the 6th secret realm, and had the strength to fight for first place. City Lord, Yun Fei is starting to show off. He's already in the top 1,000. Old Cui kept an eye on the secret realm where Xiao Chen's group was, reporting their rankings to the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Lei Hao has also made it to the top 3,000, but Xiao Chen. What's wrong with Xiao Chen? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor asked, finding this strange. Elder Cui said hesitantly, Xiao Chen's strength is declining instead of improving. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor could not help saying, not advancing but retreating instead? He was already ranked more than 9,000. How could he retreat? Let me see. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's gaze fell on the light screen for Secret Realm 97. The last place was Peach Blossom City's Xiaoqun, ranked 9873. As for the 100-odd people, they were all eliminated. Now only 9,873 participants remained in Secret Realm 97. Ha! Brother Peach Blossom, what's going on? Even if you are not paying attention, there is no need to be so half-hearted. Your disciple is actually ranked last. This is the Heavenly Alliance's test. All the powerhouses of the Heavenly Alliance are watching. Xingge casually glanced at the light screen and discovered the ranking of Secret Realm 97. Then he immediately pretended to reprimand Xiaoqun. After Xingge said that, the surrounding sovereign emperors immediately cast their gazes on Secret Realm 97. Xiaoqun? This person seems to be only 47 years old. He is rather young. A 47-year-old small perfection sovereign personage. Even in a rank 7 sect, he would be an elite among elites. However, he is still too young. Compared to the other mature sovereign personages, there is still a large gap. Indeed, most of the people participating in the Heavenly Alliance's test are 300-year-old or 400-year-old great perfection sovereign personages. This is indeed difficult. He is a good seedling. We should let him participate in the Heavenly Alliance's test after he is 100 years old. After all, he is too young. Whether he can be relied on is a problem. Right. The accomplishments before 100 years old are too flashy, like the moon reflected in the water. One can truly see some things only after 100 years old. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor is too impatient. Out of consideration for the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's prestige, the surrounding sovereign emperors did not say anything unpleasant when they discussed in whispers. This evaluation was rather objective. If it was any other imperial monarch that had enmity with imperial monarch Xingge, then the imperial monarch might say something unpleasant at this moment. However, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor had a cold and proud personality. Even though these were objective evaluations, he felt somewhat uncomfortable. However, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor was someone who did not care about fame and wealth. While he felt uncomfortable, he did not pay too much attention to it. Old Chui, do you think I was too impatient and overestimated Xiaoqin? Isn't this harming Xiaoqin? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor ignored the discussions of Sovereign Emperor Xingge and the other sovereign emperors. Instead, he felt somewhat worried about whether Xiaoqin could endure this blow. After all, Xiaoqin was still a youth. He had traveled from the outer region until now and had not seen anything truly grand. Suddenly, Xiaoqin was tossed into the Heavenly Alliance's test to participate in the sovereign personage competition of the entire Great Thousand Realms. If Xiaoqin could not adapt and lose confidence, his mental state would not be able to endure it. That would be a huge problem. Old Chui did not know what to say. He could only console the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Xiaoqin is a pretty good child. His mental state is much better than that of the other youths. There should not be any problems. City Lord, there is no need to worry. I hope so. At this moment in Secret Realm 97, in the same dilapidated city, Xiaoqin sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, cultivating the 10,000 Dragons picture. For the past 10 days, Xiaoqin had not moved at all, remaining in this dilapidated city. This dilapidated ancient city was incredibly remote, and there were no faux god spirit jades. During the past few days, Xiaoqin had seen many figures flying in the air. However, no one noticed Xiaoqin in the city. In reality, there was nothing worth paying attention to. Whoosh! A scarlet figure flew over in the sky. It was Xiaoqin's demonic pet, the demon blood vulture. The demon blood vulture circled around before landing. Xiaoqin opened his eyes, and the demon blood vulture appeared before Xiaoqin. Then it opened its beak and spat out a few spirit jades radiating divine light. Although Xiaoqin had not moved during the past 10 days, he had relied on the demon blood vulture to familiarize himself with this secret realm. It was a Xiaoqin guessed. Most places with faux god spirit jades had ferocious beasts. Some ferocious beasts even had faux god spirit jades in advance. After killing them, one would obtain a large number of faux god spirit jades. Now nearly all the faux god spirit jades that could be found on the map were gone. In the remaining 20 days, there was only one way to obtain more faux god spirit jades: snatch them. The curtains to the true tragic battle were about to officially begin. I have already waited too long to rest and build up my strength for 10 days. A brilliant light flashed in Xiaoqin's eyes as he toyed with the faux god spirit jades that the demon blood vulture delivered. Then he muttered to himself, "It is time to take action." Xiaoqin spread out his spiritual sense. Then he sensed cultivators within 50,000 kilometers. Xiaoqin sensed those with the most faux god spirit jades. The light coming from their bodies intensified. As long as one carried faux god spirit jades, one could forget about hiding in this secret realm. You it is. Someone within 50,000 kilometers shone with a bright light. Xiaoqin estimated that there were at least 3,000 faux god spirit jades on him. Whoosh! 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 Xiaoqin's figure flashed. After 15 minutes, he found his target on a mound. That was a black-clad great perfection sovereign personage. He leaned leisurely on a rock with a sword stabbed into the ground, easily within reach. This black-clad man was in no rush to take the initiative to attack. The faux god spirit jades on him would attract many participants. He could no longer remember how many fearless people came over to snatch his faux god spirit jades. However, this black-clad man ended up killing them instead, increasing the number of faux god spirit jades on him. The black-clad man glanced around and saw Xiaochun on the mound. He could not help smiling. Interesting. To think that a small perfection sovereign personage is targeting me. Scram far away. I have no interest in playing with you, pauper. The black-clad man's soul energy detected no light coming from Xiaochun's body. With one look, it was clear that someone had already ransacked him. Such trash was worthless. The black-clad man could not even be bothered to look at him. This was a great perfection sovereign personage who comprehended the sword Great Dao. His sword intent was very strong, but he was still far from comprehending a Dao domain. Compared to Yun Fei, this black-clad man was at least 50% weaker. Given his carelessness, he should be able to deal with him in 2 moves. On the mound, Xiaochun's expression did not change as he quickly made a rough estimate of the other party's strength. Eye technique, Candle Dragon Eyes. A candle dragon image immediately appeared behind Xiaochun. In the next moment, a boundless, cold candle flame started burning on the black-clad man without any warning. Cassier. Nearly at the same time the black-clad man executed the eye technique, Xiaochun leaped forward. Before the black-clad man could scream, a resplendent saber light appeared on his neck. In the next moment, blood spurted out like a fountain. You. The black-clad man looked at Xiaochun in horror. Never in his wildest dreams would he have imagined that the seemingly weak Xiaochun would erupt with such strong combat prowess. However, it was already too late. The black-clad man's body slowly immaterialized as the realm spirit sent him out. After the black-clad man was sent out, a large pile of faux god spirit jades flickering with a divine nature remained in the air. A total of 3,800 pieces. Xiaochun sheathed his saber and gently beckoned. Without standing on ceremony, Xiaochun put all the faux god spirit jades into his storage ring. Then he calmly searched for his next target. Up in the starry heavens on the Dao platform, the somewhat dispirited old Chui's expression suddenly changed. He rubbed his eyes and looked around 3 times before daring to confirm it. City Lord. City Lord. This is incredible. What's wrong? Why are you making such a big fuss? Xiaochun is he eliminated? No, I saw his name jump 800 places earlier. Then it jumped another 1,000 places. He is already in the top 3,000. This news startled the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor when he heard it. Half a day ago, Xiaochun was still ranked last. How could it be so exaggerated in just half a day? When the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor looked at the light screen for number 97, he was shocked to discover that Xiaochun's name had jumped again. Xiaochun's name had jumped from the top 3,000 to the top 1,500. Am I seeing things? Or is there something wrong with the realm spirit's ranking? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor felt some disbelief. Chapter 2092. Everyone look. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's follower jumped by 5,000 ranks in half a day. Just as the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor suspected that he saw wrong, the other sovereign emperors on the thrones in the starry heavens cried out in shock. After all, everyone had a rather deep impression of Xiaochun. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's follower was ranked last. Furthermore, Xiaochun was so young. It was impossible not to have an impression of him. Anyone would be shocked to find out that the person who had been ranked last had suddenly jumped to the top 2,000th place. How strange. How did he do it? This is too shocking. He jumped by 5,000th rank in half a day. Was he hiding his strength all this while? That is very possible. However, even if he was hiding his strength, he should not have jumped by 5,000th rank in half a day. This is too exaggerated. It is still jumping. He is already ranked 1,800th. My goodness. How long has it been since we spoke? This. Lord Shangguan, please adjust Secret Realm 97 to Xiaochun's scene. Everyone here was a sovereign emperor, and had seen many major scenes. Many things were no longer strange. The Heavenly Alliance's test had taken place several times already. However, they had never seen such a strange scene before. Xiao Chen's ranking jumped so quickly that no one could react. The most crucial thing was that the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's follower was only 47 years old. If one counted carefully, Xiao Chen was probably the youngest of the participants in this test. The many sovereign emperors immediately requested the purple-haired old man to get Secret Realm 97's Realm Spirit to lock the light screen on Xiao Chen. Previously, the Realm Spirit controlled the light screen. However, if the purple-haired old man interfered, he could get the Realm Spirit to lock the light screen on a specific participant. Peach Blossom, your follower is rather interesting. After he comes out, introduce him to me. The purple-haired old man smiled and fulfilled everyone's wish, locking the light screen on Xiao Chen. Definitely. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor smiled faintly. Initially, he did not hold much hope for Xiao Chen. To think that he managed to attract Lord Shangguan's attention, gaining some face for the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. This was great. Even if Xiao Chen did not pass the test, the purple-haired old man had the authority to let him enter the Heavenly Alliance. Of course, this was only a possibility. Emperor Xingge pursed his lips and said, "It's no big deal. I didn't even make it into the top 1,000. At the end of the month, whether or not I'll be able to make it into the top 100 is still a question. My disciple, Nan Gongfeng, already made it into the top 10 in Secret Realm 10. He will definitely pass this stage." The purple-haired old man Shangguan Yun smiled and said, "Xingge, you can't say that. The most important thing about Xiao Chen was that he was young. He was not even 100 years old, but he already had such strength. Compared to the other factions, our Heavenly Alliance lacks such powerful demonic geniuses. If he really has perseverance, even if he does not show any results now, he would be worth the Heavenly Alliance nurturing. After all, compared to the other superpowers, the Heavenly Alliance was only an alliance formed by a group of peak chambers of commerce. Although the Heavenly Alliance was already in existence that superpowers could not afford to underestimate, the Heavenly Alliance was still in existence that could not be underestimated. However, in terms of accumulations of the martial Dao, the Xiuwu dynasty's demonic Dao Hall, the Underworld God Hall, the Tianwu dynasty's Universe Origin Sect, the Yanwu dynasty's Hidden Spirit Temple, the Xinwu dynasty's Profound Heaven Holy Land, and the Bushin Palace that controlled the 8 great empires. Naturally, the Heavenly Alliance was not as attractive to powerful demonic geniuses. Look, Xiao Chen is now ranked 900th. Just at this moment, the scene of Xiao Chen killing a great perfection sovereign personage appeared on the light screen for Secret Realm 97. Densely packed faux god spirit jades immediately filled the light screen with the starry heavens. The eliminated person who was sent out before he died left behind a sky full of faux god spirit jades. This scene was very shocking. Xiao Chen, who was below, stretched out his hand and collected all the faux god spirit jades. Then his ranking jumped up. Xiao Chen charged into the top 1,000, rising to 900th. So that is the case. His spirit jades are all obtained by killing experts and robbing them. What a domineering brat. This was probably his plan from the start. He let the others search for spirit jades first and fight for them first. Then he rested and built up his strength. When most of the spirit jades in the secret realm are gone, he will make his move and kill whoever has the most spirit jades. Ha ha ha. This little fellow Xiao Chen has the air of the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor from back then. He is direct and decisive. What an interesting fellow. This is also based on his own strength. If he dared to do this without being strong enough, he would have been killed long ago. How incredible. Who could have imagined that he would charge into the top 1,000? Xingge, who had just said that Xiao Chen was nothing, not even entering the top 1,000, showed a stunned expression, immediately feeling embarrassed. Although the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor was not as petty as Xingge, the more indifferent the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor was, the more upset Xingge felt. Right now, this Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor must be mocking me in his heart. Sovereign Emperor Xingge thought indignantly. Damn it. Why hasn't someone come and kill this fellow yet? Is everyone in Secret Realm 97 trash? City Lord, Yun Fei's and Lei Hao's results are pretty good. The two of them also made it into the top 1,000. This is especially so for Yun Fei. He already made it into the top 300. It looks like he has a good chance of making it into the top 100. Old Chui took some time to pay attention to the results of the other participants in Peach Blossom City, before reporting the good news to the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor smiled faintly and said, "Not bad. It was worth it." The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor had been very indifferent in the first place. He already felt very satisfied with these unexpected results. This was how the human heart was. When one was content, one would always be happy. Sovereign Emperor Shingji's disciples all made it into the top 10, but he did not feel happy at all. Inside the secret realm, after Xiaochen reached the 900th rank, his ranking started to slow. The secret realm was filled with sovereign personages in the first place. Those who could enter the top 1,000 were all experts without exception. They all had many faux god spirit jades. Xiaochen could not surpass them in a short time. Furthermore, Xiaochen had been inconspicuous at the start, which was why he managed to succeed. However, Xiaochen's ranking now jumped wildly, jumping more than 8,000 places from the last to the top 1,000. This had already caused a huge commotion in Secret Realm 97. It was no longer possible for him to keep a low profile. Xiaochen called out to the realm spirit in his heart. Immediately, a small light figure giving off a divine light appeared before him. Congratulations, participant Xiaochen. You jumped from the bottom to the 900th rank in half a day. Earlier, I received a request from Desolate City's City Lord. The light screen for Desolate City's Test Zone 97 has already locked onto you. After the realm spirit appeared, it spoke before Xiaochen could say anything. When Xiaochen heard that, he felt slightly stunned. Being noticed was not a bad thing. Thank you. However, there is no need to congratulate me. It is pointless if I do not enter the top 100. The little light figure corrected Xiaochen. Even if you do not enter the top 100, you still deserve to be congratulated. After the competition, you can exchange your faux god spirit jades for all sorts of resources and treasures from the Heavenly Alliance. Why do you think everyone risked their lives to protect their faux god spirit jades? Even if you do not exchange them, you can absorb them for many benefits. Furthermore, do you think it is that easy to enter the top 100? All the sovereign personages of the Great Thousand Realms are gathered here. Those who can enter the top 100 in any secret realm are absolute experts among experts, existences who can preside over an astral region. It turned out that the faux god spirit jades had such wondrous uses. In that case, even if one did not enter the top 100, it would not be a loss. Xiaochen nodded and said, "Coincidentally, I called you out to see who the people in the top 100 are." The little light figure said softly, "All right. I will tell you how many faux god spirit jades the top 100 participants have, their cultivation, the weapons they use, their appearance and their age. However, I cannot provide you with any other information." "All right, that is enough. Sorry for the trouble." Soon, the little light figure presented the information of the top 100 participants in Secret Realm 97 to Xiaochen. After Xiaochen looked through the list carefully, his expression turned somewhat grave. These were the top 100 participants. Most of the participants in the top 100 were peak sovereign personages, and they were more than 300 years old. Many of them were more than 400 years old, at least 10 times older than Xiaochen. However, the people in the top 100 who had not reached peak sovereign personages could not be underestimated, either. For these people to be able to push other peak sovereign personages out of the top 100, they definitely had something extraordinary about them. They might even have comprehended a Dao domain. The one that caught Xiaochen's attention was the person ranked first. That person had a startling number of faux god spirit jades, more than 2 million, double that of the person in second place. Gongliang Yu. Xiaochen wondered how this person obtained his faux god spirit jades. Xiaochen looked at his own faux god spirit jades. He barely had 100,000, 20-odd times less than the person in first place. Even the last 100 had more than 400,000 faux god spirit jades. He still had a long way to go. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor had said the same thing about the little light figure. This was a test from the entire Great Thousand Realms, a grand scene that he had never experienced before. This was a completely different experience from the arena battles that he had experienced in the past. This was not a stage for people of the same generation. Being young was Xiao Chen's greatest disadvantage. There was no need to say that this was unfair. This was the Heavenly Alliance's rules. One could come back in a few hundred years. Since one was already here, one should not complain about being wronged. Can you tell me how this Gong Liangyu obtained the faux god spirit jades he has? Xiao Chen asked the little light figure, sensing that this person had an abnormal amount of faux god spirit jades. The little light figure explained, he killed the 10 strongest ferocious beasts in the secret realm. At the same time, 10 peak sovereign personages died at his hands. Now no one dares to offend him. I advise you not to target him. What a ruthless person. Someone is heading towards you. Good luck. The little light figure vanished. Xiao Chen looked around and could not help frowning slightly. There were a total of 5 groups of people, and each group had at least a dozen examinees. It seemed that the abnormal jump in his ranking had caused some trouble. Chapter 2093. Whoosh. Not long after the little light figure vanished, figures flickered in Xiao Chen's vision. In the next moment, 60-odd participants appeared before Xiao Chen. Peach Blossom City's Xiao Chen? The light on his body is very strong. He probably has at least 100,000 faux god spirit jades. That's more than all of us combined. He truly lives up to being someone who jumped more than 8,000 ranks in one day. When the close to 70-odd participants arrived before Xiao Chen, greed appeared in their eyes. The leader of the group wore blue robes and held a sword. He showed a ferocious expression as he said, "Cut the crap. If you want to remain in this secret realm, hand over all the faux god spirit jades on you." The 70-odd participants' auras merged into one. Their Tao might spread out, appearing very vast and terrifying. Countless auras locked onto Xiao Chen. As long as he made any strange movements, all sorts of killing moves would await Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen took a quick look and felt somewhat disappointed. Even the strongest 5 of these people did not rank in the top 1,000. Can more people decide the outcome of the battle? Xiao Chen smiled faintly, and a dragon roar erupted from his body. This dragon roar shook the surroundings. At the same time, Xiao Chen's blue dragon divine might spread out together with this dragon roar. The 3 layers of Tao might behind him layered over each other, making his dragon might look solid and very impactful. Compared to this, the opponent's seemingly massive aura and stacked layers of Tao might were like paper. The aura that Xiao Chen erupted with easily shattered the other side's aura. The group of people immediately turned somewhat flustered. They were forced to scatter and stabilize their auras. However, Xiao Chen's attack was already like a great flood or ferocious beast. How could he give them a chance to regain their auras? Die. None of you can leave. An indistinct 10,000 dragons picture appeared behind Xiao Chen. Then he shouted and quickly executed the Supreme Dragon Fist. Right now, Xiao Chen's execution of the Supreme Dragon Fist was completely different from when he executed it in the Divine Dragon Empire. As Xiao Chen attacked, he executed 3 moves of the Supreme Dragon Fist, Heart of Clouds and Water. The mighty group of dragons roamed the heavens and the earth, ascending to the heavens and diving into the sea. Who was supreme? In the 4 seas and 8 wastelands, the dragons were leaderless. The world was unfair, and the evil dragon was in power. How could he be respected? Bad luck, life as thin as paper. What is a supreme being? What is a venerable being? I am the supreme, only I am supreme. When Xiao Chen executed the Supreme Dragon Fist, he combined it with his surging killing chi and the 10,000 dragons picture in his mind. The 60-odd Great Perfection sovereign personages were mercilessly suppressed by Xiao Chen, unable to advance or retreat. 10,000 dragons soared into the sky, following him like shadows. He couldn't leave even if he wanted to, and he couldn't win even if he wanted to. The rage in the sky was the heaven dragon roaring. The murderous chi filling the sky was the hot-bloodedness burning in Xiao Chen's body. Die, die, die. Miserable shrieks rang out. The realm spirit continuously sent out participants, leaving behind foe god spirit jades. Xiaochen turned into a killing god, moving like a roaming dragon. As electric light flashed, he continuously punched, chasing after the participants who tried to flee. When Xiaochen punched, 10,000 dragons roared. The sky shook, the ground trembled, and mountains and rivers exploded. This group of people, who were already frightened out of their wits, could not block the berserk Xiaochen at all. Run, run, run. Just a moment ago, these people were incredibly arrogant, wanting Xiaochen to hand over their spirit jades. In the next moment, they fell into hell, screaming endlessly. When the several participants in the distance saw this scene, their bodies trembled slightly, horror appearing in their eyes. How ruthless! It is best not to casually offend this person. For him to jump more than 8,000 ranks in one day, how can he be someone that can be trampled on? Indeed, these fellows are too naive. When they saw that Xiaochen was only a small perfection sovereign personage, they wanted to come and bully him. The facts have proven that the lower the cultivation of the people in the top ranks, the more terrifying they are, just like the great perfection sovereign personages in the top 100. At the same time, the sovereign emperors watching the light screen in desolate cities' starry heavens felt shocked. That is the Supreme Dragon Fist. It is one of the 3 strongest offensive martial techniques in the world. How incredible! The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor really chose a powerful demonic genius this time. He is too strong. Letting him participate in the Heavenly Alliance's test was the right decision. Such a powerful, outstanding talent can only truly grow after experiencing such battles. That's right. The Heavenly Alliance's test gathers all the sovereign personage experts of the Great Thousand Realms. Even if he loses in the end, it will be very beneficial to this Xiaochen. When Sovereign Emperor Xinggu heard the group of sovereign emperors praising the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's choice of disciple, he showed an unsightly expression, feeling upset in his heart. These fellows only know how to flatter the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Even when my disciple Nangong Feng made it into the top 10, I did not hear you say that. Up on the light screen, Xiaochen withdrew his hand and collected all the scattered foe god spirit jades in the air. Xiaochen's ranking jumped from 900 to 800. Now that he was in the top 1,000, it would be somewhat difficult for him to make such a large jump like before. Xiaochen was already very satisfied with advancing 100 ranks. One got away. After collecting the foe god spirit jades, Xiaochen looked around and discovered that it was the ferocious-looking blue-clad cultivator who shouted at him at the start. After him, Xiaochen's figure flashed, and he executed Light of Freedom. Then he turned into a lightning bolt and gave chase. Damn it! Damn it! The blue-clad sovereign personage wiped off the blood at the corner of his lips. As he looked at Xiaochen, who was chasing after him, he cursed continuously. The blue-clad sovereign personage had not expected a small perfection sovereign personage to erupt with such terrifying combat prowess. Not only that, but the combat experience that the blue-clad sovereign personage showed was also seasoned and calm, surpassing that of these sovereign personages who were only a few hundred years old. The blue-clad sovereign personage was truly a 47-year-old small perfection sovereign personage. Wuxia, the blue-clad cultivator, who was concerned about whether he could escape from Xiaochen, suddenly discovered a spear stabbed into his chest. A terrifying force surged out from the spearhead. This force would destroy his physical body in the next moment. At the crucial moment, the realm spirit made a move and directly sent the blue-clad sovereign personage out. Whoosh! Xiaochen's figure appeared, and his gaze fell on a spear-wielding cultivator in front. This person had soared through the air and instantly killed the blue-clad sovereign personage with one spear strike, snatching away Xiaochen's target. This person exuded an aura that far surpassed that of a great perfection sovereign personage. The strong aura contained an even stronger sovereign personage will. A sharpness radiated from this person's face, deterring others from looking directly at him. A peak sovereign personage. This spearman before Xiaochen was a peak sovereign personage. Xiaochen recalled for a while and knew who this person was. The Ink Sea Cluster's Qionging. This person ranked 358th on the list that the little light figure gave Xiaochen. He was a peak sovereign personage, and there was a portrait of him on it. Xiongning held a black spear in his hand as he slowly collected the scattered faux god spirit jades in the air. However, his gaze remained fixed on Xiaochen. Xiongnings's gaze contained strong pressure. Just a single glance was enough to make one feel an overwhelming pressure bearing down on them. Xiaochen knew that this was the pressure from the difference in cultivation. Unfortunately, although Xiaochen's cultivation was not high, his will of soul already rivaled that of a peak sovereign personage. Under the boundless pressure of the other party's aura, Xiaochen's expression did not change as he calmly looked at the other party. Since coming out of the land of the blood moon, Xiaochen had not met such a strong opponent before. Xiaochen's breathing turned somewhat ragged. It was not nervousness but excitement. He discovered that he had started to like this secret realm. This was the place of battle that Sang mentioned. This is interesting. Brother Peach Blossom, this little fellow under you should quickly run. Otherwise he will be killed. Sovereign Emperor Xingji's eyes lit up when he saw this scene. What a fellow! I finally met an opponent who can deal with you. The other sovereign emperors had noticed this scene long ago. This was truly interesting when facing a peak sovereign personage. The previously strong Xiaochen had finally run into an existence that was not easy to offend. At this moment, one could either fight or run. No matter what the choice was, one just had to be decisive. The worst thing to fear was hesitation, not knowing how to make a decision. Dang. Right after Sovereign Emperor Xingge spoke, Xiaochen stabbed the unsheathed tyrant's saber into the ground in the light screen. Xiaochen's battle hunger blazed like a fierce flame. Even through the light screen, everyone could feel his surging hot-bloodedness. What a fellow! He has a temper. The purple-haired old man could not help praising softly. Xiaochen's decisive decision was simply delightful. Chapter 2094. Xiongning was the top expert of the Ink Sea cluster. He was 400 years old, and had already reached peak sovereign personage 100 years ago. He excelled at using the spear. When Xiongning felt the battle hunger that erupted from Xiaochen, he felt slightly surprised. Originally, he would not bother making a move against a small perfection sovereign personage. However, when his soul energy sensed the light of a faux god spirit jade on Xiaochen's body and his ranking, his expression slowly turned grave. A 47-year-old small perfection sovereign personage, a follower of the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, ranked 800. This was a demonic genius. Xiongning was already 400 years old. He had seen all sorts of geniuses and outstanding talents. Many great perfection sovereign personages had already eliminated peak sovereign personages in this secret realm. Everyone in the secret realm knew this principle. The great perfection sovereign personages of the top 100 were even more horrifying than peak sovereign personages. Similarly, those who could make it into the top 1000 as small perfection sovereign personages definitely had extremely strong trump cards. They could not be underestimated at all. Are you challenging me? Xiongning asked as he looked at Xiaochen. Xiaochen's battle hunger sword. Naturally, the answer went without saying. He nodded slightly, and did not say anything. This is the first stage of the test, and it is not time to show our true strength yet. The people in the top 100 are already avoiding fighting each other to prevent others from taking advantage of them. Think about it carefully. At this point in time, challenging me is not a wise decision. Xiongning showed a calm expression. Not only did he not show the arrogance of a peak sovereign personage facing a small perfection sovereign personage, but he also lowered his status and discussed things with Xiaochen. There is no way to withdraw a drawn saber. The battle hunger that has been ignited can only grow stronger. It cannot be extinguished. The other party's words made sense. If both sides ended up injured, it would be easy for others to take advantage of them. Only 10 days had passed. It was not time to go all out yet. However, right now, Xiaochen was not thinking about how to pass the test. He just wanted to fight once, to fight to his heart's content. Ink Sea clusters Xiongning, make your move. You will regret it. Xiongnings's eyes slowly turned cold. Previously, he had been as calm as still water. Now he suddenly erupted with a terrifying chill. Thousands of cold lights appeared behind him like stars, densely packed and flickering, materializing a vast and boundless mysterious phenomenon. Boom. Amidst the explosion of thousands of icy stars, the long spear in his hand pierced towards Xiao Chen at a speed faster than light. The spear moved, and the vast and boundless cold stars came pressing down, covering the sky and covering the earth. Xiao Chen did not retreat. He took a step forward and pulled out the tyrant's saber stabbed into the ground. The instant Xiao Chen drew the saber light, countless electric lights flickered in the sky. 3 layers of Dao might layered over each other behind him. A dragon roar came from Xiao Chen's chest. Then, like a divine dragon, he charged forward fearlessly. Clang, clang, clang. The two of them manifested different auras as they fought against each other. Their figures flickered as they clashed with their weapons. In just a short moment, a battle of wits and courage had already passed 100 moves. Qiangying's eyes were always as calm as ice, and his feet were as steady as an iceberg. His every move was flawless and flawless. Xiao Chen was obviously unable to remain calm in the face of someone whose cultivation was 2 realms higher than him. He could only go all out and strive to exert 110%, or even 120% of his combat power with every move. When a person was at the edge of a cliff, he could only force himself to continuously outperform himself. However, Xiao Chen's opponent did not need to do so. He only needed to remain calm and not make any mistakes, waiting for his prey to make a mistake. As the two fought, one was steady and the other ferocious. It looked like Xiao Chen's might was vast, and his attacks were like the tide. His saber light flickered with an overwhelming aura. However, in reality, the spectating sovereign emperors knew that the one holding the upper hand was the Ink Sea Cluster's spearman, Qiangying. It was impossible for one to always outperform oneself. There would always be mistakes. It was just a matter of size. If Xiao Chen, who continued to erupt with power, could not break Qiangying's aura and gain a true advantage, the battle might in the instant Xiao Chen made a mistake, ending in one move. Reckless fool. Sovereign Emperor Xinggu said indifferently from above desolate city's starry heavens. In reality, most of the sovereign emperors felt the same way. However, they would not say it out loud. After all, no matter what, Xiao Chen's courage was already worthy of praise. There was no need to ask for more. No matter what, the other party was a peak sovereign personage. Xiao Chen did not have much chance of victory in the first place. Boom! Just at this moment, the situation between Xiao Chen and Qiangying suddenly changed. Qiangying, who had been fighting steadily, suddenly erupted, bringing out 130% of his combat prowess. A cold light flashed in the starry heavens. Qiangying roared ferociously and thrust his spear forward, making the starry heavens flicker and look like they were burning. Damn it! Xiao Chen's expression changed slightly. Before he could change his move, Qiangying forcefully broke his aura. The cold light at the tip of the spear burst forth with a light comparable to that of the sun. Whoosh! The spear got closer and closer. Xiao Chen's vision turned blurry. The light from the other party's spear tip was already so piercing that he could not see it clearly. Die! Qiangying's aura soared continuously as he took a ferocious step forward. With every step he took, 5 kilometers of ice appeared. A dazzling cold light burst out of Qiangying's body. Before the spear tip arrived, the vast aura forced Xiao Chen to continuously retreat. While at a disadvantage, the other party's peak sovereign personage will have soul pressed down. Qiangying wanted to kill Xiao Chen in one strike, not giving him any chance or hope of turning the situation around. Qiangying could not retreat any further. If he did, only death awaited him. Desperate situation. This was a desperate situation. Xiao Chen was at the edge of a cliff. If he took another step back, he would fall into a bottomless abyss. However, in this desperate situation, while Qiangying looked like he had a slim chance of survival, the other party was frantically erupting in order to kill him in one strike. His moves would not be as flawless as before. This was a desperate situation, but also an opportunity. Should I use a secret technique? It is not time yet. Not to mention that the other party might not have a secret technique. Xiao Chen's purpose in this battle was not to win. It was to stabilize himself between life and death, to find the saber Dao that he once lost. Sun and moon shining together. The frantically retreating Xiao Chen suddenly stopped, and his sole mysterious phenomenon, sun and moon shining together, appeared. Instantly, The pressure that the other parties will have soul placed on Xiao Chen vanished. Flawless Dao, heartbreaking chop. Xiao Chen had not experienced the pain of a broken heart for a long time already. His old wounds had already healed. If his heart shattered again, the pain that it brought would be several times more intense than before. He had tried several times in the past, but he could not persevere. Xiao Chen made his choice. Kasie. His heart shattered, and his complexion instantly paled. However, the instant his heart shattered, his physical body also brought out its boundless potential amid the boundless pain. At the crucial moment, Xiao Chen's momentum plummeted. Then he suddenly erupted. A shattered bright moon soared out from his body. Clang! Xiao Chen swung his saber light, and a loud, melodious sound shook the surroundings. At the crucial moment, the tyrant saber's blade forcefully blocked the other party's resplendent sun-like sharp attack. The moment the saber light clashed, the ground of this special secret realm shattered. The two were forced to their limits. He blocked it. Outside the light screen, the many sovereign emperors watched this scene incredulously, feeling shocked. He actually blocked this spear strike. I thought that this spear strike would blast him into bits. I was even worried about whether the realm spirit could save him or not. To think that he blocked it. Inside the secret realm, Qiangying was similarly shocked. His thoughts raced as he quickly made a decision. He could not let the other party counterattack. He withdrew his spear and soared into the air. The countless burning cold stars in the sky instantly entered his body. Secret technique, boundless burning stars. This Qiangying was also a ruthless person. He knew that if he gave Xiao Chen a chance to counterattack after blocking this spear strike, he would be in for a hard time. Thus, he might as well use the advantage he still held to decide the victor in one move. Outside the light screen, the many sovereign emperors, who had just heaved a sigh of relief, had to hold their breaths again. The two's battle was simply extremely fascinating. Thousands of changes happened in an instant. One could not miss a single second. Qiangying, who soared into the air, let the boundless burning cold stars enter his body. Then, he thrust his spear forward with an even more ferocious aura. This thrust was boundlessly ferocious. The boundless aura seemed to sweep through the world, barring all life and leaving nothing behind. Rumble. Amid loud sounds, the ground around Xiao Chen continuously exploded. The shock waves surged out, shocking everyone. When the participants watching from afar saw this scene, they were startled. If they got struck by the shock waves, they would be severely injured even if they did not die. Xiao Chen, who was in the center of the storm. The kind of pressure he faced was easy to imagine. Whoosh! Holding the tyrant saber, Xiao Chen did not panic. He swept away the shock waves around him and pushed off with his feet, calmly retreating. What is he doing? Trying to flee. He is too naive. He has been smart all his life, but in the end, he made such a foolish mistake. Upon seeing this scene, several sovereign emperors nearly could not hold themselves back, wanting to jump up. At this crucial moment, Xiao Chen could decide the victor in one move. Yet he still wanted to retreat. This was simply incomprehensible. Xiao Chen gently leaped up and retreated 50 kilometers, landing on a mound. As Xiao Chen retreated, Qiangying's spear strike, powered by the secret technique, was already twice as strong as before he retreated. In the next moment, Xiao Chen would have to face the peak strike of this secret technique. He could no longer retreat. This was the price of retreating earlier. However, retreating was not fleeing or giving up. It was just to bring out his strength more perfectly. If Xiao Chen had no fear in his heart and victory was in his grasp, what harm was there in taking a step back? Martial and soul as one, entering hell. The white-clad Xiao Chen showed a calm expression as he faced the spear strike that could tear him to shreds in the next moment. He calmly entered the state of martial and soul as one. While retreating, he silently circulated the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique and swung it. Whoosh! The swastika on Xiao Chen's forehead erupted, and an endless purgatory swallowed up Xiao Chen. Just as everyone was feeling puzzled, they saw the world suddenly lose all color, leaving only black and white. The white-clad Xiao Chen held an evil world-destroying dragon as he clashed with Qiangying's sure-kill spear strike in this black and white world. Martial and soul as one. This time, The sovereign emperors who could no longer hold back jumped up. They looked at the light screen with the starry heavens as the background in shock. This was a technique that even sovereign emperors dreamed of grasping. To think that it appeared in the hands of a small perfection sovereign personage. Chapter 2095. Martial and Soul as One. The merging of one's martial Tao allowed one to enter the perfect state that even sovereign emperors dreamed of. As Xiao Qun casually waved his hand, he could easily bring out any cultivation technique or martial technique to their limits. For example, Xiao Qun needed to put in a lot of effort before he could bring out 11% or 120% of his combat prowess. During this time, it was easy for him to expose his flaws, creating openings. However, after Xiao Qun entered martial and soul as one, he could easily bring out his limits with a casual strike, perfect and without any openings. More importantly, after Xiao Qun executed martial and soul as one, he could perfectly merge with the world. Every move contained the might of the world. The stronger one was, the more horrifying the might of the world that one could bring out after martial and soul as one. Just being able to casually bring out the limits of one's body was already enviable. When one executed a martial technique, one could bring out the heavenly might, inspiring envy. Very few sovereign emperors could grasp martial and soul as one. Of the more than 100 sovereign emperors present, only the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor could do so. Why did the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor receive so much respect? No one dared to underestimate him. Grasping martial and soul as one was one of the reasons. This Xiao Qun really hit himself deeply. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor muttered. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor muttered. He had not expected Xiao Qun to grasp martial and soul as one. Congratulations, Brother Peach Blossom. You accepted a good disciple. Sovereign Emperor Xinggu looked at the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor enviously. He was very unconvinced of the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, but he had to admit that this fellow's potential was indeed limitless. Even Sovereign Emperor Xinggu had only touched the threshold of martial and soul as one in the past few years. This realm had to do with comprehension ability. Without sufficient comprehension ability, no matter how strong one's cultivation was, it would be pointless. You are too polite. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor replied politely. Ha 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 ha. Good. 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 This Xiao Qun is incredible. Whether he can clear the first stage or not, headquarters will definitely pay attention to him. For so many years, our desolate city test zone has never sent a powerful demonic genius to the Heavenly Alliance. Peach Blossom, you brought me great honor. If I want to reward you, I will reward you now. The purple-haired old man laughed loudly, appearing in a good mood. He rejoiced and wanted to reward the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor quickly said, Lord Shengguan is too serious. We have not reached the final juncture yet. There is no need to rush. Let's see how far Xiao Qun can go in the end. If he can pass all the tests and join the Heavenly Alliance, it will not be too late to talk about rewards then. The purple-haired old man calmed down. As he stroked his beard, he smiled faintly and said, I was somewhat anxious. However, the number of cultivators in this Heavenly Alliance's test is the highest in history, exceeding 1 million. If it was in the past, I would have definitely passed the final test. However, it's hard to say whether I can pass the final test this time. However, it doesn't matter anymore. Someone who can comprehend spirit and martial arts, as one has already proven his worth. The other super factions are very interested in such geniuses. They absolutely cannot let go of such a good seedling. City Lord, look. The outcome has been decided. Oh. The reminder drew everyone's attention to the light screen 97. Many faux god spirit jades exploded in the sky above the light screen. Qiong, who was holding the spear, slowly turned immaterial. In the final confrontation, he did not expect his opponent to enter the state of martial and spirit as one. It was a pity that if he had known that the other party had grasped martial and soul as one, he wouldn't have been so reckless. Fighting against Xiao Qun, who had grasped martial and soul as one, in a single move was probably what the other party wished for. If he changed his strategy and continued to compete in martial arts techniques, he still had a chance of winning. Congratulations, the lucky fellow who comprehended the fusion of martial arts and soul. The Ink Sea Cluster's spearman, Qiangying, said softly as he looked at Xiao Chun with some envy. The outcome had been decided. In this battle, Xiao Chun had learned many things. No matter what, this Qiangying before him was a worthy opponent. He said, "Thank you. Will we have a chance to meet again?" Qiangying said sullenly, "In the past Heavenly Alliance's tests, there would be a loser's arena battle. If there is one this time, I believe we will definitely meet again." Boom. After saying that, Qiangying's figure vanished. He had been eliminated by Xiao Chun in Secret Realm 97. Xiao Chun stretched out his hand and waved. Then he collected all the Faux God Spirit Jades in the air. The number of Faux God Spirit Jades on him immediately increased from more than 100,000 to 400,000. Congratulations, participant. You are currently ranked 287th in Secret Realm 97. On another note, among the top 300, you are the only participant who is over 100 years old, but is not a great perfection sovereign personage. Xiao Chun called out the realm spirit and checked his ranking. Then the little light figure's mechanical voice rang out, congratulating Xiao Chun. 287th was already an extremely high ranking. It would be difficult for Xiao Chun to raise it within a short time. Xiao Chun looked around and sensed many strong auras rushing over. In his current state, Xiao Chun was not suited to continue fighting experts. His figure flashed as he fled far away. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Not long after Xiao Chun left, several figures appeared one after another. As these people looked at the damaged ground and the lingering battle marks in the air, they showed cautious expressions. What a fellow! He actually eliminated Qiangying. There is another competitor. We cannot underestimate this small perfection sovereign personage fellow. If I did not see wrong, he executed martial and soul as one earlier to defeat Qiangying. Qiangying's defeat is not undeserved. This serves as a reminder to us. Let's go. More people arrived one after another and quickly scattered. Now all the peak experts in Secret Realm 97 knew that the white-clad bladesman named Xiao Chun was already a strong competitor for the slots. Another 10 days passed. After the initial intense killing, the Secret Realm entered a relatively peaceful period. This was the case in the other Secret Realms as well. That was because there were less than 5,000 people left in the Secret Realm. Most of these people were familiar with each other, so they could avoid many fearless battles. When the weaker ones saw the experts, they would immediately turn and flee, not linger in a fight. These people only hoped to be alive before the Secret Realm ended, so that they could keep their Faux God Spirit Jades to exchange for treasures. When the true experts met, they would be even more cautious. They could not attack rashly at this moment. Otherwise, if both sides ended up severely injured, who knew how many pairs of eyes would be watching? During the 10 days, Xiao Chun felt rather depressed. Right now, everyone in Secret Realm 97 knew the strength of the white-clad bladesman. The weaker ones did not dare to provoke him. The higher-ranked ones would not fight him at all. Sometimes, one day passed without even seeing a single person. The number of people who dared to fight with him could be counted on one hand. His ranking rose very slowly. Over the past 10 days, the number of participants Xiao Chun killed was not even as many as the number of ferocious beasts he killed. However, Xiao Chun also knew that this was just the calm before the storm. As the end of the Secret Realm approached, the most intense competition would erupt. Until the very last moment, all the rankings were fake. Even those in the top 100 would not be unable to hide their strength at the very last moment, and have no choice but to show themselves. Suddenly, Xiao Chun felt an extremely well-hidden soul energy sweep past him. He quickly put down what he was doing and started to track this soul energy without batting an eyelid. Xiao Chun immediately felt somewhat shocked. The range of this soul energy was frighteningly vast. However, since this soul energy was not specifically targeting him, Xiao Chun did not bother with it. At this moment, many eliminated participants had already appeared on the desolate city's starry heavens Dao platform. Lei Hao, whom the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor thought highly of, was among this group of eliminated participants. Lei Hao felt somewhat depressed. He had run into the strongest person in Secret Realm 8, Wu Meng, whom the others called the Saber Demon. Before Lei Hao could react, the other party instantly killed him with one saber strike and eliminated him. Lei Hao did not even manage to see the other party's appearance. He only saw a somewhat blurry face with a sinister smile. Damn it! I hope there will be a loser's bracket again. Otherwise, I will not have any chance at all. Let's see how little brother Xiaochun and little brother Yunfei are doing. Lei Hao sorted out his emotions and looked for Yunfei's ranking on the light screen for Secret Realm 98. Not bad. He was ranked 403rd. If he maintained this ranking and lasted until the last 3 days, he might make it into the top 100. Second brother is still second brother. The 13 wind controlling swords is indeed strong. Lei Hao laughed as he looked at the light screen for Secret Realm 98. When he glanced at the ranking, he was immediately stupefied. Peach Blossom City's Xiaochun was ranked 108th. After a long time, Lei Hao said in a daze, "How did little brother Xiaochun make it all the way to the top 200? Only at this moment did Lei Hao notice that the eliminated participants around the Dao platform were all looking at the light screen for Secret Realm 97. Their expressions were similar to Lei Hao's, all of them showing shock. A 47-year-old participant actually made it into the top 200. Chapter 2096. I heard that an incredible demonic genius appeared in our desolate city test zone. He managed to make it into the top 200 in Secret Realm 97 at the age of 47. That is the truth. 10 days ago, I personally saw him kill a peak sovereign personage. He grasped martial and soul as one. You did not see it. Those sovereign emperors in the starry heavens jumped up in shock. Damn. Martial and soul as one. This is too demonic. He is only 47 years old. My goodness. Comparisons are odious. However, it is still somewhat difficult for him to make it into the top 100. This test is simply too difficult. There are more than 1 million participants. This is the most intense test in the Heavenly Alliance's history. We can still look forward to it. After all, he came out of our desolate city test zone. I think that City Lord Shangguan is very happy. Who knows if his results are better, we might even be rewarded. Right. There are still 10 more days. There is still a chance. When Lei Hao heard the discussions around him, he slowly revealed a smile after his shock. His brother really became famous now. He had gained some face for the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Even though he had been eliminated, his gloominess had lessened by a lot. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days had passed. Only 2 days remained in the first stage. At this moment, many secret realms finally erupted with the final decisive battle after a long period of peace. Everyone who had a chance to make it into the top 100 went even crazier, frantically fighting for foe god spirit jades. At this point, if they still did not fight, they would not have another chance. The final madness officially began. A reign of terror spread throughout every secret realm. This was unavoidable in Secret Realm 97 as well. Congratulations to participant Xiaochun. You have risen to the 178th rank in Secret Realm 97. Congratulations to participant Xiaochun. You have risen to the 176th rank in Secret Realm 97. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Without any warning, Xiaochun's ranking jumped from 180 to 170. However, Xiaochun's foe god spirit jades did not increase. He did not kill any other participants either. Xiaochun, who was preparing to move and do his best, looked at the little light figure in confusion. There must be a mistake. My foe god spirit jades did not increase. Please do not doubt Realm Spirit's words. Congratulations, examinee Xiaochun. Your ranking has risen to 165. The mechanical voice of the little light figure did not fluctuate in the slightest as it calmly narrated. Not good. Someone had started a massacre. The examinees in front of him were continuously killed and eliminated. His ranking was passively rising. Xiaochun's expression changed slightly. This was not a good thing. There were no weaklings in front of him. More than a dozen people were eliminated so quickly. What kind of enemy did they encounter? Just as Xiaochun was feeling bewildered, he noticed that there were many candidates fleeing into the distance with fear on their faces. Xiaochen was puzzled and hurriedly stepped forward to stop one of them. Brother, what's going on? Why is everyone fleeing? Scram. Don't block my way. That person threw a palm strike at Xiaochen, trying to push Xiaochen back. When Xiaochen received this palm strike, he revealed a startled expression as he recognized Xiaochen. Sorry, it turns out to be the white-robed bladesman, Xiaochen. Sorry for the offense earlier. After this person recognized Xiaochen, his attitude immediately became much better. However, he still occasionally looked back, appearing somewhat anxious. What happened? Did a ferocious beast appear? That person quickly replied. It's even more terrifying than a ferocious beast. The top 10 participants of our secret realm split the participants for the overall ranking. They've divided up the participants of the entire mystic realm. And the area we're in right now is the territory of the number 1 Gongliangyu. Don't you think it's scary? I'll be leaving first. You should leave quickly as well. Although the other places are also filled with the top 10 participants, it is at least much better than facing Gongliangyu. After that person spoke, he immediately fled, leaving in a hurry. After that person went far away, just as he was about to vanish from Xiaochen's sight, his body suddenly exploded, filling the air with faux god spirit jades. Whoosh! Xiaochen vaguely saw a blue figure waving its hand and collecting the faux god spirit jades before disappearing. Xiaochen vaguely felt that the other party had glanced at him. With just one glance, Xiaochen felt immense pressure, like he was imprisoned. Realm Spirit, what's going on? Xiaochen quickly asked, feeling some lingering fear as he summoned out the little light figure. The little light figure answered mechanically. Those who can enter the top 100 of the overall ranking in the first stage will have the advantage of being seated in the second stage. How come I don't know about this? Only the top 10 participants of the various secret realms can receive the information I send them. No wonder. When Xiaochen heard that, he understood. No wonder he felt an extremely vast soul energy probing the entire secret realm. It turned out that 10 days ago, the top 10 participants had started discussing their respective territories. This was really not good. Those who could be ranked in the top 10 were definitely examinees who had an overwhelming advantage in their respective secret realms. If not for the realm spirit's reminder, the top 10 participants might not have erupted in advance for the sake of preserving their strength. For the other examinees, the pressure on them would be much less. However, now that they knew about seated participants in the second stage, they would definitely fight for it with all their might. This would simply be an apocalyptic disaster for the other participants. With the meticulous planning of these people, the participants below the top 10 became lambs to be slaughtered. The expressions of the many sovereign emperors in desolate cities' starry heavens changed somewhat. The expressions of the many eliminated participants on the Dao platform changed dramatically. As they watched the top 10 participants being slaughtered on the light screen, they felt that this was simply too cruel. Lord Shengguan, what's going on? A sovereign emperor could not help asking the purple-haired old man. With this, the difficulty of passing the first stage increased several-fold. Furthermore, it became even crueler and cold-blooded. The purple-haired old man replied sullenly, I just received the news. This is a last-minute decision by the Heavenly Alliance. There are simply too many participants this time. The Heavenly Alliance needs to use a stricter method to select participants. Otherwise, it will still be the same as before, unable to keep up with the other super factions. When the number of participants in the various secret realms reaches 100, the first stage of the test will end early. We can only wish them good luck now. The top 10 participants of the various secret realms were all incredibly strong existences. They had a suppressive advantage over the other participants. From the light screen, it could be seen that the top 10 candidates had all been eliminated. When the other participants erupted with their full power, it was simply a massacre. There were few exceptions. The number of participants in the various secret realms rapidly decreased. This was very scary and unbearable to watch. This was too cruel. The number of participants in this Heavenly Alliance's test exceeded 1 million. This was already the most difficult part. Now the Heavenly Alliance suddenly made such a move. This caught everyone off guard, and was not easy to deal with. City Lord, things are not good. the strongest participant in Secret Realm 97, Gong Liangyu, has taken over Xiao Chen's territory. Gong Liangyu. The Peach Blossom's sovereign emperor frowned slightly. He had an impression of this person. Gong Liangyu was the disciple of an old friend. At the age of 380, Gong Liangyu had already advanced to peak sovereign personage at the age of 100. His veritable essence energy, will, martial techniques, and various other aspects had already reached the limits of a sovereign personage. Gong Liangyu lacked only one fortuitous encounter to undergo his tribulation at any time, and become a divine Vein Realm sovereign emperor. Gong Liangyu was far stronger than the previous Qiangying. Even if Xiao Chen grasped martial and soul as one, he would not be a match for Gong Liangyu. Gong Liangyu was too young. Gong Liangyu had been a peak sovereign personage for 280 years. If Gong Liangyu fought with Xiao Chen, Gong Liangyu would hold a huge advantage in all aspects. If Xiao Chen had another 50 years, he might not have feared Gong Liangyu. However, now no matter what, Gong Liangyu was Xiao Chen's senior. When Gong Liangyu advanced to sovereign personage, Xiao Chen might not have been born yet. It would not be fair for the two to fight. The Peach Blossom sovereign emperor said sullenly. If you run into Gong Liangyu, your chances of advancing are too slim. This Heavenly Alliance's test is too cruel. Even I cannot bear to watch. Old Chui sighed softly. How unfortunate. The Heavenly Alliance's last-minute change is too fatal. When the top 10 participants fought for the faux god spirit jades with their full power, some of the participants did not even have time to be rescued by the realm spirit, and died in the secret realm. Such a situation was very rare in the past examinations. However, it happened in nearly every secret realm now. The eliminated people on the Dao platform suddenly rejoiced, rejoicing that they were eliminated early. The participants who lasted until the last 2 days were simply too miserable. Chapter 2097. Inside the secret realm, Xiao Chen opened his heavenly eye and looked around, taking in the scene for 500,000 kilometers around. Gong Liangyu. Xiao Chen finally saw this person clearly. Gong Liangyu wore azure-colored profound robes with threads of golden thread. He looked elegant and graceful, noble, and extraordinary. This was a massacre, a one-sided massacre. After Gong Liangyu chased after the other participants who wanted to flee, they would lose in 3 moves at most. Was this exaggerated? It was not. However, when one's strength reached a certain level, one would have a suppressive advantage. Take Xiao Chen for example. If the other small perfection sovereign personages stood before him, they would die within 10 moves. Even a regular great perfection sovereign personage would end up getting crushed. However, the roles were reversed. As a sovereign personage, this Gong Liangyu stood even higher than Xiao Chen. This Gong Liangyu was not just a simple peak sovereign personage. The combat prowess that he displayed far surpassed that of other peak sovereign personages. Even that Qiangying might not last more than 10 moves if Gong Liangyu unleashed his full power without holding anything back. Cultivation realm was only one of the factors that measured a cultivator's strength. Even if one's cultivation was the same, there might be a huge difference in strength. As Xiao Chen watched a participant getting massacred, he felt a little emotional. At the same time, he thought of a countermeasure. Under the observation of the heavenly eye, the faster those who fled, the faster they died. Gong Liangyu's movement technique was extremely strange. He was always one step faster than others, catching up to the fleeing people and mercilessly killing them. What movement technique does he cultivate? He is so fast that it is somewhat scary. Xiao Chen frowned slightly, feeling that this was not easy to deal with. Being in the range of Gong Liangyu's massacre inspired despair. If Xiao Chen faced the other top 10 experts, the situation might be much better. I'm not running anymore. I'll fight it out with him. Xiao Chen's heavenly eye saw that some people could not flee, so they roared and gathered 10-odd people to charge at Gong Liangyu. They should have done this long ago. Instead of running, they might as well counterattack. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When one was in despair, the potential that burst out of one's body would terrify even oneself. With nowhere to run, the 10-odd sovereign personages turned and charged at Gong Liangyu at the same time. There were all sorts of killing moves, continuous mysterious phenomena, and boundless Tao might. Xiao Chen, who was watching with his heavenly eye, felt that all these attacks had sealed off all the possible escape routes for Gong Liangyu. Facing more than 10 killer moves in the sky and on the ground, Gong Liangyu showed no expression as he stretched out his right hand. This was the first time Xiao Chen had seen Gong Liangyu's hand clearly. It was as white as jade, and was even more beautiful than a woman's hand. Rumble. All sorts of killing moves arrived. The world changed color from the desperate counterattacks of these 10-odd sovereign personages. All sorts of phenomena appeared one after another. This battle represented the peak attack of these candidates. At this point he could no longer hold back. If it was Xiao Chen facing such an attack, he would temporarily retreat, because there was no need to fight against a group of life-saving killer moves. The examinees who made a move only hoped to force Gong Liangyu back, not to win. He only hoped that he could force the other party to retreat, and give himself a chance to escape. However, Gong Liangyu remained expressionless. He spread open his jade-white palm and grabbed. Then something strange happened. Many mysterious phenomena in the sky fell down like meteors. The weapons in many people's hands even fell to the ground with a schwa sound. The world spun, and the targets of many people's killing moves changed for no reason, landing on the ground. That space seemed to have become incomparably heavy. Countless killer moves were instantly broken by Gong Liangyu. The Earth Great Tao, this is a Tao domain. Xiao Chen's expression changed slightly. He thought to himself, these people are all going to die. The 10-odd sovereign personages paled in fright. They immediately turned around and fled. However, they were horrified to discover that the sovereign personages had already fled. However, they were horrified to discover that while they were in the air, they felt like their feet had sunk into a swamp. They had clearly brought out their movement techniques at full power, but they were like clowns swimming slowly in the air. Gong Liangyu's expression remained expressionless as he flicked his finger. A thick strand of black sword chi tore through the air. The sword intent was dense, and the sword aura was vast. Everywhere it passed, the other examinees died on the spot. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Heavy rain fell from the sky. It was the faux god spirit jades continuously falling. With a wave of his hand, Gong Liangyu collected all the faux god spirit jades in the air. Xiao Chen's expression remained calm, as if he had just done something insignificant. Xiao Chen withdrew his heavenly eye and closed his eyes. After resting for a while, he opened them again. Xiao Chen could not think about leaving. The faster he went, the more likely Gong Liangyu would target him. The other party grasped the Earth Great Tao and a strange movement technique. If Gong Liangyu targeted him, there was no hope of escaping. Xiao Chen summoned out the little light figure, and looked at his ranking. It had already jumped to 130th rank. If one could understand the meaning behind this ranking, they would be as startled as Xiao Chen. There was no point in thinking too much. Since Xiao Chen could not leave, he would just fight with his full power. Xiao Chen had more than 600,000 faux god spirit jades on him. For the sake of the overall ranking, the other party would not let him off. Dang! Xiao Chen stabbed the tyrant saber into the ground beside him. Then he sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes to adjust his mental state. He continuously copied the 10,000 dragons picture in his mind, storing up power and waiting to take action. Right now, Xiao Chen no longer thought about the Heavenly Alliance's test. He only hoped to go all out before an expert like Gong Liangyu, not leaving any regrets. Victory or defeat did not matter. As long as he did not get defeated in 10 moves and get eliminated before he could bring out anything, it would be too regrettable. Xiao Chen only wanted to fight to his heart's content, not leaving any regrets. At Desolate City's Starry Heavens Tao platform, Yunfei appeared in the crowd with a slightly pale complexion. At the very last moment, he had managed to charge into the top 100 after much difficulty. In the end, he ran into the top 10 of Secret Realm 98, who did not give him a chance to execute the 13 wind controlling swords. Second brother, come over here. It was Lei Hao's voice. Yunfei looked in the direction of the voice, and saw Lei Hao waving at him from not far away. You got eliminated as well? Yunfei asked as he looked at Lei Hao after walking over. He could not help feeling even more depressed. At the same time, he blamed himself. Both of them were eliminated. It was over. Peach Blossom City's people did not even pass the first stage. Lei Hao consoled. Don't blame yourself too much. This Heavenly Alliance's test is too ridiculous. It is good that you survived and got eliminated. Furthermore, we still have a chance to enter the loser's arena. Don't be too disheartened. Loser's arena? The loser's arena was even crueler. In previous years, the loser's arena had tens of thousands of people fighting in a chaotic battle royale. The remaining people would go on to the next round. This time, it would probably be a chaotic battle royale with 1 million people fighting for 100 spots. Yunfei could only think about it. The requirements for strength and luck were too high. How is little brother Xiaochun? Why don't I see him? Yunfei looked around and did not see Xiaochun on the Dao platform. He immediately felt somewhat worried. Several people had died in this Heavenly Alliance's test. Lei Hao pointed to a light screen and said, "Look over there. Little brother Xiaochun has gained glory for master this time. Even Lord Shengguan is full of praise for him. I heard that he grasped martial and soul as one. He even defeated a peak sovereign personage and made it into the top 210 days ago." When Yunfei heard that, he could not help feeling startled. When he fought with Xiaochun, although he knew that Xiaochun held back some trump cards, Yunfei knew that he had grasped martial and soul as one. However, Lei Hao thought to himself, even if Xiaochun brought out all his trump cards, he should be undefeatable. Unexpectedly, Xiaochun was so ferocious, grasping martial and soul as one. Lei Hao sighed softly. Unfortunately, he is in Gong Liangyu's range. He is probably going to enter the loser's arena like us. Is this Gong Liangyu very strong? Very strong. He is on the same level as that Wu Meng in my secret realm. He was already a peak sovereign personage 200 years ago. Furthermore, he grasped the Earth Dao domain. Little brother Xiaochun is in trouble. Lei Hao hoped that Xiaochun could defeat this Gong Liangyu. However, reality told him that it would be too difficult. This Gong Liangyu had reached the limits of a sovereign personage in every aspect. Furthermore, he grasped the Dao domain. Based on the mysterious movement technique Gong Liangyu executed, he clearly had a fortuitous encounter and possessed great luck. It seems like he is targeting Xiaochun. Yunfei's expression changed slightly. Then he saw an azure figure approaching from afar on the light screen for number 97. Immediately, the nearly 10,000 eliminated people on the Desolate City Dao platform focused their gazes on the light screen for number 97. Even the many sovereign emperors stopped chatting at this moment and looked over with grave expressions. After all, Xiaochun came from the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's faction. He represented their Desolate City test zone. No matter what, they hoped that Xiaochun would perform well. Chapter 2098. Gong Liangyu frowned slightly. His 10 moves were each more ferocious than the last, not holding back at all. Xiaochun's heart was pure, straightforward, and magnanimous. As expected, the Earth Dao domain had already spread out while Xiaochun spoke. Boundless heaven and earth, body as a cauldron, sharp spirit finger. Just as that strand of sword chi was about to arrive, Xiaochun calmly swung his tyrant saber. When Xiaochun opened his eyes, an azure figure slowly descended at the limits of his vision. This scene frightened the onlookers. Their hearts skipped a beat. It's over. Xiaochun, who had seen Gong Liangyu make a move before, had already expected all this. No one had ever seen or heard of Xiaochun's method of blocking the other party's attack, startling everyone. City Lord Shengguan frowned slightly, thinking about something. Gong Liangyu's expression did not change. He remained silent as his figure flashed forward and threw another palm strike. Xiaochun showed a cold and expressionless expression as he walked over step by step. His aura, which had already fallen, slowly soared as he walked. A strong wind howled, and the sky changed color. When the saber and sword chi clashed, a dazzling and resplendent light burst out, instantly illuminating the light screen for Secret Realm 97 in a piercing white. Gong Liangyu's blurry figure gradually turned clearer in Xiaochun's vision. Finally, he landed 1 kilometer away. Xiaochun immediately felt heavy pressure. The spreading Earth Dao domain restricted his movement technique. When Xiao Chen's palm strike landed, the layered mountain images gathered into a heavy and ancient stone stele. Then it smashed down with absolute pressure. The strong contrast made Gong Liangyu look even stronger. Xiao Chen not only looked miserable, but also humiliated. On the light screen for Secret Realm 97 with the starry heavens as the background, Gong Liangyu stood upright with his hands behind his back. His long hair fluttered in the wind. Only Xiao Chen's head remained on the barren ground in front of him. Kill. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. At such a close distance he felt the horror of this sword chi. Xiao Chen was not wrong. He would not lower his head or bend his back. No matter how difficult it was, he did not feel fear or regret. 200 years ago, Xiao Chen was already a peak sovereign personage. His strength went without saying. The eliminated cultivators on the desolate city Dao platform couldn't bear to watch such a humiliating scene. Why was this child so persistent? All the other candidates in this area had already been eliminated, leaving only Xiao Chen. But even so, he still felt pressured when facing them. That deadly sword light was already less than 10 meters away from Xiao Chen. However, not only did Xiao Chen not move, he even sheathed his saber. Even those sovereign emperors had grave expressions on their faces. They stared unblinkingly at the light screen 97, not willing to miss even the slightest detail. Even in such a situation, he still wanted to deal a fatal blow to Xiao Chen, and not give him any chance to turn things around. Primordial divine eyes, bloodline activation, life ceaseless, battle ceaseless. The purple-haired old man also couldn't help but praise. Gong Liangyu flicked his finger, and a strand of dense sword chi shot towards Xiao Chen. However, there was no fear in his heart. At most he would just lose. Who could remain undefeated in this world? One only needed to be fearless and fight with one's full power. This move was too exquisite. Gong Liangyu showed everyone how to perfectly merge the Earth Dao domain with the sword chi. However, this move perfectly demonstrated what it meant to multitask, leaving no way out. Without overthinking, Xiao Chen sheathed his saber. Then he merged all his veritable essence energy, vital chi, and soul energy into one, silently circulating them. When the many eliminated cultivators on the desolate city Dao platform saw this scene, their hearts clenched. Xiao Chen drew the tyrant's saber in the time it took for a spark to fly. A melodious saber hum ignited the hot-bloodedness in Xiao Chen's body. In that instant, a boundless battle hunger soared into the sky. The scene reappeared. Xiao Chen held his saber with one hand, dressed in white. His complexion was slightly pale, and dragon images circled him. His aura did not seem affected at all. Clearly he was not injured. Good. When everyone saw Gong Liangyu make his move, they all sucked in a deep breath. Gong Liangyu could not be bothered to waste time. While his aura reached its peak, he threw a palm strike with his left hand. Then he placed his right hand on the back of his left hand. Fight! What was even more unbearable was that even at this moment, Gong Liangyu still did not show mercy. Gong Liangyu found this slightly strange. A complicated expression flashed in his eyes, containing envy and disappointment. He said softly, "Who would underestimate a sovereign personage who grasped martial and soul as one? I can feel your surging battle hunger, and the hot-bloodedness burning in your body. This mental state and will are truly rare." Xiao Chen faced Gong Liangyu calmly. Then he said calmly, "This should be the first thing you said in the past 3 days. It looks like you still think highly of me. Many thanks. However, there is no need to pressure me with words. They are ineffective against me." Bang. Inside the secret realm, Xiao Chen lay on the ground, with only his head remaining. His eyes were as clear as water and as bright as gems. From the start to the end, he did not show any fear or weakness. Xiao Chen smacked his left hand above his head. The instant he turned into a cauldron, he blocked the other party's sword chi and the stone steel image's suppression. Did you block it? Xiao Chen perfectly merged with the Earth Great Dao. There was nothing fancy about it, just a heavy and imposing aura. It's coming. Dragon might and Dao might merged into Xiao Chen's aura and erupted. Xiao Chen focused all his attention. How can it be like this? He actually wasted it at the crucial moment. Naturally, Lord Shengguan hoped that Xiao Chen could go further away from such an outstanding talent. gaining some face for Desolate City's test zone, and Shangguanguan. The most helpless thing was that Xiaochen remained in the other party's Earth Great Dao. His movement technique was restricted, and he could bring out less than 80% of his strength. Gong Liangyu looked at Xiaochen expressionlessly. He said indifferently, "You are rather smart. You are not like the others, jumping around, knowing that the faster you flee, the faster you die. You are also not like the other fools, taking the initiative to seek death. I am honored to tell you that you will be the last person I will kill in Secret Realm 97. However, since Xiaochen was here, there was no need to complain. This was the path he chose. Even if he had to kneel, he had to persevere. He would not lower his head or bend his back. Even if someone trampled him into the dust, he would not give up on his perseverance. It's over." The horrifying explosive force did not even give Xiaochen time to react. Gong Liangyu's palm wind slammed him into the ground. When the two palms layered over each other, the might that erupted from this palm strike surpassed the previous 9 moves combined. "I can still breathe. Why do you think it's over?" Only Gong Liangyu's head remained on the ground. Only the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor could guess that Xiaochen, a powerful demonic genius, had been chased out of the Divine Dragon Empire in a humiliating manner. From the start to the end, Xiaochen had been suppressing his anger. He wanted to prove himself, to return to the Divine Dragon Empire. Whoosh! No one understood why Xiaochen was so insistent. Not only did Xiaochen block this sword strike, but he did so without getting injured at all. This immediately elicited cheers. This surpassed many people's expectations. Gong Liangyu's sword chi looks casual. In reality, every strand of it is his full power. The Earth Great Dao is naturally dense and dense. It looks ordinary, but in reality, it is boundlessly vast, as heavy as a mountain. Almost all of the candidates were defeated by a wisp of his sword chi. Bang! Gong Liangyu did not give Xiaochen any chance to catch his breath. In the next second, he retreated and arrived before Xiaochen. "I blocked it. Unfortunately, the more it is like this, the more serious I have to deal with it, the faster you will lose. It is destined that things will not go as you wish." After 10 moves, Xiaochen's aura reached its peak. After that, his aura could no longer rise and slowly stabilized. It was like now, even though Xiaochen knew that the Heavenly Alliance's test was unfair, he could not do anything about it. Boom! The Realm Spirit had not forcefully sent Xiaochen away yet, which meant that he still had the strength to fight. If not for the Dao domain spreading out on the ground, the might of this palm strike could have reduced the land for 500,000 kilometers around to nothing. Whoosh! This Gong Liangyu is really not giving him a way out. Fortunately, this beautiful light lasted for only an instant before quickly fading. However, others could roughly guess what had happened. Xiaochen was a rare demonic genius. Furthermore, he happened to come from the Desolate City test zone. When Xiaochen stubbornly used the Supreme Dragon Fist to defeat Qin Ming, who used the Emperor Dragon Fist, in Divine Dragon City, he had already expressed his stance. Xiaochen's palm technique looked simple, but it was heavy and dense. It was like he had thrown out many tall mountains. The dragon race bloodline in Xiaochen's body made him yearn for the empire that chased him out. Xiaochen was not done yet. At this moment, his left hand moved as well. He held 2 fingers together and formed a sword light that pierced into Xiaochen's face. Right after Gong Liangyu spoke, he ferociously raised his hand. That jade-white hand looked even more beautiful at close range. This was a hand that countless people envied. It was a hand of uncanny workmanship, meticulously carved yet natural. "This is the final move. I'll send you out." Xiaochen's hand slowly turned golden. The Dao platform set the place abuzz. Everyone felt incredibly anxious, eager to know what would happen next. Was there a need to risk his life in a battle that he was sure to lose? Could he not admit defeat? Retreat. Gong Liangyu said indifferently. Then he stepped forward and stomped, trying to crush Xiaochen's head. The most crucial thing was the sword light that Xiaochen's left hand had pierced into Xiaochen's face. Sensing that he could not get close at all, Gong Liangyu decisively scattered the stone steel and the sword chi before retreating. No matter how difficult it was, he would persevere on the path he chose. In the future, he would use his own method to return to the empire and prove himself. He is not dead yet? A sovereign emperor on the throne sighed softly. Clearly, this Gong Liangyu did not want to waste time with Xiao Chun. He used his full power, not underestimating Xiao Chun at all. Pussy. Xiao Chun was only 47 years old. He had advanced to sovereign personage only a few years ago. His innate disadvantage already sealed his fate. If Xiao Chun tried to dodge this sword chi with his movement technique, he would definitely die. Xiao Chun blocked this attack with some difficulty. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips as he took 3 steps back. This works. Xiao Chun slowly stood up. Gong Liangyu's words contained absolute confidence. However, the deeper meaning was somewhat terrifying. Xiao Chun, who was recuperating with his eyes closed, felt a strong aura slowly approaching him from afar. Amid the chain of palm images, Xiao Chun occasionally switched to a sword technique to attack, which was even more crafty and sinister. When Xiao Chun's veritable essence energy, soul energy, and vital qi all merged into one and filled his entire body, he stretched out 2 fingers. To everyone's surprise, he used these 2 fingers to clamp down on that sword light. In mere moments, 10 moves passed. Xiao Chun's white robes were already stained with blood. His wounds were a ghastly sight, inspiring heartache. Xiao Chun did not bother saying anything. His coldness and ruthlessness inspired despair. Everyone who saw him felt a chill run down their spines, feeling like they had fallen into an ice cave. The descending stone steel thoroughly suppressed Xiao Chun. If not for his innate divine body, his physical body would have been crushed. Everyone felt heartache. Even the purple-haired old man, who had lived for tens of thousands of years, felt his eyes moisten. Palm strike after palm strike, Gong Liangyu continuously sent out palm strike after palm strike. With each palm strike, the scene on the light screen shook for a long time. This battle had been unfair from the start. Gong Liangyu, who had lived for more than 400 years, had already reached the limits of a sovereign personage in all aspects. Chapter 2099. With a thought, Xiao Chun extended his hand, and a vast, boundless, blurry picture of 10,000 dragons soaring in the sky appeared. Gong Liangyu, who felt that it was over, relaxed for a moment. His perfect aura revealed some openings. Such a scene was very exciting, making one's blood boil. Everyone in Secret Realm 97, no matter where they were, could see this shocking scene when they raised their heads. The moment Xiao Chun activated his bloodline, it instantly blasted apart the Earth Dao domain that covered the ground. At the same time, 3 Dao might layered over Xiao Chun's body, working with his bloodline power. One could see a trace of scarlet shadow coalescing in the thousands of sword images. The rubble, and dust from the explosion piled up like a mountain. Gong Liangyu was in there, his status unknown. However, this thought only lasted for an instant before Gong Liangyu's expression changed. The surging dragon might gathered on Xiao Chun's body, causing Xiao Chun's aura to erupt again, continuously climbing. Even a fool could tell that this was not the right time to clash head-on with Xiao Chun. Gong Liangyu felt sullen and upset. However, his shocking rationality suppressed all rash actions, remaining incredibly calm. Right now, if Xiao Chun did not admit defeat and let the realm spirit send him out, he might die to this 10,000 swords returning to the heart. After awakening the blue dragon divine body, Xiao Chun could endure even more of the ancient energy from his great desolate Aeon bloodline. Is that it? Xiao Chun roared, and the berserk dragons quietened down. The earlier ferocity and berserk instantly vanished. Gong Liangyu had not expected his sure kill trump card to be so useless before Xiao Chun. By the time Gong Liangyu recovered his wits, the picture suddenly descended and suppressed him. The golden light in Xiao Chun's eyes vanished completely. Dressed in white, he fell to the ground somewhat weakly. Although this was his first time encountering the Earth Dao domain, Xiao Chun was more than 70% confident of breaking this Earth Dao domain. How can it be like this? Boom, 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 boom. Heaven's unfairness. Only I am supreme. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that the scene in the secret realm was earth-shattering. The examinees on this side were all scared silly. A foot as large as a mountain trampled him down. Kacha, kacha. Xiao Chun crushed the image of the mountain behind him as it rose up from the ground. When the scroll was unfurled, The entire sky was filled with dazzling golden light. Gong Liangyu did not panic in the face of danger. His figure moved backward, trying to buy himself some time to come up with a plan. Xiaochen snorted coldly. Buddhist divine ability, Dharma world. Seeing that Xiaochen had no intention of admitting defeat, Gong Liangyu's eyes flashed with hostility as he spoke coldly. The reason why it had never been broken. Xiaochen broke the restrictions of Gong Liangyu's Earth Dao domain on his movement technique. Xiaochen instantly executed the Supreme Dragon Fist's leaderless dragons. Immediately, 10,000 dragons soared into the air behind him, roaring. Furthermore, with the support of Xiaochen's bloodline, the might of the Supreme Dragon Fist reached a horrifying level. Anyone would feel unbearable pain as Xiaochen stomped down. An ordinary sovereign personage would probably turn into meat paste with one stomp. In 3 seconds, Xiaochen stomped a total of 100 times. After 100 stomps, Dharma world came to an end. After enduring the final strike of the Supreme Dragon Fist, Gong Liangyu, who had been suppressed for a long time, erupted. A terrifying aura soared up from his body, and the image of an ancient mountain rose up from the ground behind him. Gong Liangyu showed doubt for the first time since the fight started. He was stunned for a moment. Gong Liangyu brought out his Earth Dao domain to its limits. However, just as the mountain was about to soar into the clouds. Oh no! The might of this secret technique already rivals that of an ordinary strike of a divine Vein Realm sovereign emperor. Congratulations to all the participants. The 100 spots for Secret Realm 97 have been decided. Those who survive will be qualified to participate in the second round of the test. Gong Liangyu felt suspicious in his heart. Did Xiaochen's attack end here? Just as Gong Liangyu's foot was about to stomp down, Xiaochen's great desolate Ian bloodline instantly activated. Gong Liangyu's expression did not change. He moved his hands unhurriedly, sending out dense sword images. In that case, let's fight to our heart's content, fighting to the death. He successfully practiced the Supreme Dragon Fist. Why did Ancestor Dragon City not take him in? With the support of the 10,000 Dragons picture, although Gong Liangyu fought steadily, he was still forced back step by step. This was a scene that no one expected. The strongest expert in Secret Realm 97, Gong Liangyu, slaughtered all the participants within 500,000 kilometers. This is the Supreme Dragon Fist. Gong Liangyu's expression did not change, but his murderous intent soared in his heart. I'll let you be arrogant for now. Let's see how long you can erupt for. He could no longer tolerate this kind of entanglement with Xiaochen, a 47-year-old sovereign personage. Not admitting defeat? In that case, die? This was definitely a trump card that Gong Liangyu planned to use in the second stage of the test. Gong Liangyu, who originally thought that he would be severely injured, executed his killing move the instant Xiaochen's Dharma world came to an end. Amidst the loud noise, one mountain peak after another was snapped in half. The scene on the light screen trembled endlessly. One could only see Xiaochen's gargantuan feet descend mercilessly over and over again. Bang! The spectators were flabbergasted, feeling incredibly shocked. After receiving this punch, Gong Liangyu felt his internal organs crack as he got knocked back 500,000 kilometers. 10,000 tall mountain peaks rising from the ground. Gong Liangyu continuously shattered the dragon images flying at him. Because time was limited, Gong Liangyu needed to wait for the best opportunity to make a move. However, Gong Liangyu was too unfathomable. The thousands of sword lights filled with scarlet images bounced back with tinkling sounds. Unable to break this painting, the universe origin true flame and the heavenly snow divine flame turned into a pair of yin and yang fish, chasing each other in the starry heavens of the secret realm. The reversal of the situation on the light screen for Secret Realm 97 excited all the participants and the sovereign emperors in the entire desolate city. The thousands of dragon images looked solid, carrying Xiaochen's hot-bloodedness and pride as they charged endlessly at Gong Liangyu like a torrential storm. The Supreme Dragon Fist was one of the 3 most ferocious offensive fist techniques in the world. Xiaochen could not clash head-on with it. A resplendent and dazzling sun-like light burst out from Gong Liangyu's chest. In the next moment, thousands of sword lights shot out from his chest. Even though Xiaochen already held a huge advantage, he did not relax at all. He was cold and emotionless, inspiring despair. Gong Liangyu was forced back by Xiaochen. After enduring the full set of the Supreme Dragon Fist, Gong Liangyu, who felt incredibly sullen, seized the perfect opportunity after Xiaochen finished executing his fist lights to erupt with power. A painting appeared in Xiaochen's hand. Then he unhurriedly tossed it into the air. However, Xiaochen forced Gong Liangyu to execute it in this stage of the test. Heaven Dragon regrets. Commanding the dragons. A vast and boundless Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram covered the starry heavens, spreading throughout the secret realm. Furthermore, Gong Liangyu was forced into such a situation. He did not dare to imagine how the powerhouses of his test zone would view him. When Gong Liangyu executed the Supreme Dragon Fist smoothly, blood leaked out of a corner of his lips. He had already been knocked back 500,000 kilometers, arriving in the territory of another one of the top 10 participants. A figure covered in wounds and disheveled hair charged out of a pile of rubble, looking very miserable. When this foot landed, the surrounding tall mountains all flew away. The ground cracked, and countless peaks appeared. Whoosh! 10,000 Dragons Picture, Supreme Dragon Fist. The little light figure appeared before everyone in the secret realm's void, and announced the end of the test. Great Desolate Divine Eyes, Bloodline activated. Endless life, endless battle. Gong Liangyu's body trembled slightly, and he turned into a 3-kilometer-long saber. Gong Liangyu looked up, stunned. Punch after punch. Gong Liangyu showed a bitter expression as he clenched his teeth and held on, continuously getting pushed back. Yin-Yang burst. Rumble. Everyone said that Gong Liangyu was ruthless, cold, and emotionless. However, when this Xiaochen showed his ruthlessness, it was even more chilling. My goodness! This truly lives up to being one of the 3 most ferocious fist techniques in the world. Even Gong Liangyu does not dare to challenge its sharpness. Xiaochen revealed his true form and hovered in the air. The golden light in his eyes had already dimmed. The duration of his bloodline was about to end. 10,000 swords returning to the heart. The offensive aura coming from Xiaochen was incredibly terrifying. It was like an ancient great desolate Ian roaring at him. Every sword strike contained a drop of Gong Liangyu's heart blood. This terrifying killing move made the cultivators outside the light screen suck in a breath of cold air. Xiaochen did not give up. He continued to wait. Now this opportunity finally appeared before him. As Xiaochen pointed with one hand, this vast Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram descended on Gong Liangyu. At this moment, Xiaochen's aura suppressed Gong Liangyu for the first time. After fighting with the black and white eggs for 4 years, Xiaochen was no stranger to the Dao domain. I can still breathe. Why do you say that it's over? However, how could Xiaochen give Gong Liangyu this opportunity? He immediately executed the Supreme Dragon Fist, the strongest martial technique of the dragon race. Xiaochen grabbed ferociously with his right hand, and the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram exploded. The terrifying might of the flames radiated out, killing many of the participants who could not dodge in time. Xiaochen's veritable essence energy surged, and his blood surged. As a vast dragon roar rang out, 10,000 dragons attacked when he punched. Die. However, at this moment, Xiaochen activated his bloodline and unleashed his full power. For a short time, his cultivation was no weaker than a peak sovereign personage. Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram. Upon seeing the terrifying secret technique that Gong Liangyu executed in the secret realm, the sovereign emperors in Desolate City's starry heavens immediately saw how extraordinary the 10,000 swords returning to the heart was. Chapter 2100. The first stage ended. Inside Secret Realm 97, Xiaochen looked at his ranking, 98th. Gong Liangyu, who ranked first, had 4 million Faux God Spirit Jades, still ranked first. He is not dead yet? As Xiaochen looked at the 3-kilometer-tall pile of rubble, he entered deep thought. Of the elemental great Tao of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, and thunder, the earth great Tao was the most resilient. The saying as firm as a boulder, or as stable as a mountain described cultivators who cultivated the earth great Tao. Earth was also the foundation of many elemental great Tao. The many great Tao in the world evolved from the Earth great Tao. The elemental great Tao did not differ in strength. However, one had to admit that cultivators who grasped the Earth great Tao were more difficult to deal with. The Earth great Tao was also one of the more difficult elemental great Tao to cultivate. It was extremely incredible that Gong Liangyu could break through the Earth great Tao to the Tao domain. Whoosh! The rubble in front flowed like water, and Gong Liangyu slowly emerged from it. Participant Gong Liangyu, congratulations. You ranked 13th overall in the first stage. Ranking 13th meant that Gong Liangyu would not be a seeded participant in the second stage. This was a significant blow to Gong Liangyu, who was determined to rank within the top 10. You should rejoice that the test is over. Gong Liangyu looked coldly at Xiaochen. It was all because of this person. If not for Xiaochen, Xiaochen would have been able to rank within the top 10. Indeed, when the great desolate Ian bloodline vanished, the test ended. You are overthinking. Luck is also a part of strength. No matter how lucky I am, I obtained this result through hard work and perseverance. It had to be said that this was Xiaochen's luck. However, this was also the result he obtained after persevering. Xiaochen was very open-minded, not feeling as conflicted or dissatisfied as Gong Liangyu. To Xiaochen, it was already a pretty good result to be able to enter the next stage. More than 1 million participants gathered in the entire martial epoch. This was a super test for sovereign personages under 500 years old. The first stage eliminated more than 900,000 participants. Xiaochen already felt satisfied that he did not get eliminated. As for talking about luck, it seemed a little petty. Without perseverance and doing everything he could, he would not be able to enjoy luck. Humph, I hope you won't run into me in the next round. Gong Liangyu snorted coldly as a trace of killing intent flashed in his eyes. Xiaochen smiled faintly. Now he felt that Gong Liangyu wasn't that scary anymore. If he really felt that he had only relied on luck to pass this stage, if he were to meet the other party in the second test, he might not have to put himself in such a sorry state. In the secret realm, the bodies of the remaining 100 people started to fade as they were teleported out by the realm spirit. Xiaochen's body flickered as he appeared on the starry sky Dao pillar in Desolate City. As soon as he appeared, he was shocked to find that he was surrounded by nothing but empty land. The examinees who had been eliminated had already taken the initiative to make way for Xiaochen and the other examinees. Apart from him, there was only one person in the entire Barren City assessment area who had passed the first test. Everyone else would have to go through the loser's bracket and undergo rounds of cruel battles to obtain a limited number of spots. Nangongfeng, Sovereign Emperor Xingji's disciple. A person at the side greeted Xiaochen and reported his name. Xiaochen nodded slightly and said, Xiaochen, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's disciple. At the mention of the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, a strange look flashed in Nangongfeng's eyes. When Xiaochen discovered that only he and Nangongfeng had passed the first test, he found it somewhat strange. This Desolate City assessment area is too unlucky. Nangongfeng glanced at Xiaochen and said indifferently, Desolate City is just a transit point. There are not many experts here, so it is only average in the first place. The results of this test are very polarized. The three dynasties assessment areas occupy 60% of the spots. The special astral zones assessment areas account for 20%. Many of the other assessment areas were even completely wiped out. The Heavenly Alliance was a super faction that spanned the entire Great Thousand Realms. However, the three dynasties which occupied Great Luck had more true experts. As for the so-called special astral zones, they were only those that were far from the central Great Realm. However, due to many factors, the spiritual energy of these outer regions was no weaker than that of the central Great Realm. They even gave birth to special secret realms that could nurture many experts. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The thrones of the purple-haired old man and the group of sovereign emperors flew to the two. City Lord Shangguan revealed a smile and said, Congratulations to the two of you for passing the first test. In the end, the Heavenly Alliance changed the rules before dying. I thought that the Desolate City assessment area would be completely wiped out. Sovereign Emperor Xinggu, Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Present. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor and Sovereign Emperor Xingge stood up and appeared. Then, they arrived before the purple-haired old man and bowed respectfully. The two of you, each lead a disciple and bring glory to my desolate city assessment area. I will reward you well. Sovereign Emperor Xingge. I will give you 100 million primeval heavenly pills, 100 subdivine crystals, and a 10,000-year-old herb king. You can choose whatever you want in the treasure pavilion. Sovereign Emperor Xingge revealed an expression of joy. Subdivine crystals were peak-grade spirit jades, extremely rare. Obtaining 100 of them would be a great fortune to a sovereign emperor. As for primeval heavenly pills, they were somewhat insignificant. However, 100 million was a completely different matter. The so-called 10,000-year-old herb king referred to natural treasures that were more than 100,000 years old. They were treasures that could extend one's life at any time. The other sovereign emperors revealed envious expressions. The rewards for this test were several times higher than before. However, this made sense when they thought about it. There were more than 1 million participants, and the Heavenly Alliance changed the rules at the last minute. No amount of rewards would be too much for someone who could lead the participants through the first test under such circumstances. Otherwise, City Lord Shangguan wouldn't be able to keep his face if everyone in the desolate city's examination area was wiped out. As for the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, haha, I really do not know how to reward you this time. To think that you managed to bring out a powerful demonic genius who grasped martial and soul, as one at the age of 47. Furthermore, you even passed the first test. You have given me a pleasant surprise. The purple-haired old man's gaze fell on the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, and he naturally revealed a smile. Lord Shangguan, you are too serious. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor replied politely. The purple-haired old man laughed loudly and said, I am not exaggerating. Earlier, several Heavenly Alliance Corps doyens asked me about Xiaochen. He expressed his willingness to accept Xiaochen into the Heavenly Alliance. I am truly flattered. This has never happened in the 10,000 years I have been in Desolate City. Ha! The moment Xiaochen said that, the surrounding sovereign emperors burst into an uproar, feeling incredibly shocked. Within the Heaven Alliance, aside from the Alliance Master and the Deputy Alliance Master, the Law Kings held the highest position. For example, the purple-haired elder was only a Grand Elder, not a Core Grand Elder. However, the purple-haired elder was a bit special. He had to oversee Desolate City. Although he was a Grand Elder, his status and authority were not inferior to that of a Core Grand Elder. Most of the doyens in the other regions were Nine-Vein Sovereign Emperors. Back then, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor also had a chance to become a doyen. However, he didn't care much about it, so he retreated. Now, Sovereign Emperor Xingge was doing his best to climb up the ranks and become one of the Heavenly Alliance's doyens. Sovereign Emperor Xingge and his disciple, Nangongfeng, showed envy and shock on their faces. To think that a core doyen took a fancy to Xiaochen. This was a blessing that could not be obtained even in several lifetimes. Something that Nangongfeng did not even dare to dream about. Sovereign Emperor Xingge felt even more depressed. If Xiaochen were his disciple, he might have directly become a doyen with this contribution. To think that such a good thing fell into the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's lap. No matter how Sovereign Emperor Xingge thought about it, he felt uncomfortable. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor felt slightly startled. He had not expected a core doyen to notice Xiaochen. Previously, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor was only one step away from becoming a doyen. He knew very well how horrifying the strength of the core doyens, who were above doyens, was. The core doyens had the authority to bring the disciple they fancied into the Heavenly Alliance. However, the core doyens could use such authority only once or twice at most. The Heavenly Alliance was a superfaction made up of many peak merchant associations. For the sake of the Heavenly Alliance's continuous operation, it needed strict alliance rules. The Heavenly Alliance's test was one of the most serious matters of the Heavenly Alliance. No mistakes could be tolerated. Even the core doyens could use such authority only once or twice for Xiaochen. This showed how much they valued Xiaochen. For a Cordoyan to be willing to use this privilege that could only be used once or twice for Xiaoqun showed how much they valued Xiaoqun. Xiaoqun might not understand the significance of this, but these sovereign emperors understood it very well. Xiaoqun, what's your decision? If you are willing, you can formally join the Heavenly Alliance without needing to participate in the second stage. The purple-haired old man said softly as he looked at Xiaoqun. The purple-haired old man entered deep thought. Then he nodded and said, very well. I'll tell you the information of these Cordoyans in private. The purple-haired old man entered deep thought. Then he nodded and said, all right. I'll tell you the information of these Cordoyans in private. Thank you, Lord Shangguan. At the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's signal, Xiaoqun performed a cupped fist salute, thanking the purple-haired old man. The purple-haired old man looked at the other participants and said, the second stage will be held 10 days from now. If you want to participate in the loser's arena, make your preparations and come 10 days from now. If you are not willing, those who still have faux god spirit jades can exchange them for some resources you need in Desolate City. Thank you, Lord Shangguan. Chapter 2101. After the purple-haired old man finished speaking, he left with the group of Desolate City's upper echelon. The first stage of the test came to an end. Brother Peach Blossom, you are really lucky. I brought 10-odd people into the Heavenly Alliance and worked hard for more than 1,000 years, but I cannot compare to the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's good disciple. Sovereign Emperor Shanggu said somewhat eccentrically as he walked over. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor smiled and said, I was indeed lucky. I'll take my leave first. I still have to discuss the Cordoyan's invitation with Xiaoqun. Humph. Seeing the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's indifferent attitude, even bringing up the matter of the Cordoyans taking a fancy to Xiaoqun, Sovereign Emperor Shanggu felt disgusted. Even if Sovereign Emperor Shanggu wanted to lose his temper, he could only hold it in. After a while, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor and the others returned to Desolate City via the Starry Heaven Dao platform. They found a residence near the overflowing sea to settle down. The highest pavilion of the residence had a window on the top floor, which allowed one to see the vast, radiant overflowing sea. At this moment, Xiaoqun and the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor were alone in the pavilion. The others had already left. Xiaoqun, do you know why I was not in a rush to get you to agree to Lord Shangguan on the Dao platform? Xiaoqun felt suspicious. I don't know. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor went to the window and looked at the overflowing sea. After some thought, he said, within the Heavenly Alliance, the Cordoyans are below the Alliance Chief and the Vice Alliance Chief. Catching the eye of a Cordoyan is extremely rare. It is an extravagant hope that many people do not even dare to dream of. I was afraid that you would be too excited and unable to make a decision. Hence, I wanted you to calm down before making a decision that truly follows your heart. Xiaoqun thought about it. At that time, he had indeed felt a surge of emotions. Suddenly hearing such good news while being stared at by tens of thousands of eyes, his emotions fluctuated greatly. There is one more thing. Catching the eye of a Cordoyan might not be a good thing. Feeling confused, Xiaoqun asked, why is that? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor gave Xiaoqun a deep look. After hesitating for a moment, he said, compared to the other super factions, the Heavenly Alliance's internal structure is much more complicated because it is made up of merchant associations. The level of chaos here was much worse than that of the veteran super factions like the Bushin Palace, the Universe Origin Sect, the Hidden Spirit Temple, and the Profound Heaven Holy Land. Not all of them are good people. Factional struggles are also quite intense. Originally, these things were very far away from you. My original intention was for you to rely on your own strength to enter the Heavenly Alliance. This way, it would be easier for you to be respected, and you would have more freedom. Let me put it more bluntly. If you rely on the Cordoyans to support you and enter the Heavenly Alliance, you will not be able to do so. If you want to retreat in the future, with this favor, how can you retreat? If I'm not careful, I might get caught up in the conflict between the factions and sink deeper and deeper. It'll be even more troublesome if I can't retreat even if I wanted to. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's words held a deeper meaning. It seemed like he had been forced to retreat from Peach Blossom City, for some reason back then. Now he didn't want Xiaochen to repeat his mistakes. Xiaochen was still fine. At the very least, he had retired and was in a half-hidden state, no longer caring about the Heavenly Alliance's matters. He knew that Xiaochen joined the Heavenly Alliance because the Heavenly Alliance had more freedom. If Xiaochen ended up being tied down, Xiaochen might feel vexed. When Xiaochen heard that, he entered deep thought. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's words calmed him down completely. Indeed, if Xiaochen could not leave the Heavenly Alliance in the future because of this favor, the losses would outweigh the gains. There's no rush. It will not be too late to make a decision after I know which senior elder took a liking to you. There are also many rather neutral Cordoyans in the Heavenly Alliance. There is no need to rush. Many thanks, City Lord. Xiaochen performed a cupped fist salute. It's fine. You can withdraw first and make your preparations. You might have to participate in the second stage 10 days later. However, Xiaochen did not leave. He showed a hesitant expression, like he wanted to say something. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor asked, "Is there something else?" "Yes. I would like to borrow primeval heavenly pills from City Lord." Xiaochen had always been decisive and rarely hesitated. However, he felt somewhat embarrassed about borrowing primeval heavenly pills. How much? At least 3,000 primeval heavenly pills. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor raised his eyebrows and sighed softly. Then he walked over and placed a hand on Xiaochen's shoulder. After a while, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor revealed an expression of understanding. It turns out that you have been stuck at the bottleneck of Small Perfection Sovereign Personage for close to 2 years already. The resources needed to break through the bottleneck are indeed astronomical. 30 million primeval heavenly pills might not be enough. How about this? I'll lend you 50 million primeval heavenly pills, and return you a rank 7 cloud-breaking pill. That way, you will have a better chance of breaking through to Great Perfection Sovereign Personage. After the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor understood, he felt very forthright, not hesitating at all. After a pause, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor continued, "You don't have to feel like you owe me a favor. You and I are helping each other. By letting you participate in the test, I do not need to be criticized for not doing anything. Furthermore, Lord Shengguan will give me a reward that will not be lesser than this." Xiaochen nodded slightly. However, he still owed the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor a favor in his heart. No matter what, without the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, Xiaochen would not have been able to enter the Heavenly Alliance's test. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor lent him 50 million primeval heavenly pills on a whim, even giving him a rank 7 heavenly pill. Xiaochen admired the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's forthrightness. However, are you sure you want to break through at this time? Once you fail, you will have to recuperate for half a month. After that, the Heavenly Alliance's test will be over. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor looked at Xiaochen cautiously. Xiaochen received the storage ring that the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor gave him. Then he said calmly, "I've already made up my mind. Given Gong Liangyu's strength, I estimate that he will rank within the top 100. Right now, I find it hard to even block him. If I do not improve, I do not have much hope of passing the test." Good. With a great battle ahead, it is not impossible to cut off all means of retreat. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor nodded and personally sent Xiaochen off. After returning to his room, Xiaochen thought to himself, 50 million primeval heavenly pills. If I work hard and do not have any fortuitous encounters, I will have to work hard for at least 2 years. This time, Xiaochen not only wanted to use this opportunity to break through to Great Perfection Sovereign Personage, but also break through to the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation's 11th layer in one go and comprehend the Thunder Dao domain. Xiaochen's Saber Dao still had flaws that he could not fix. However, he had never slacked off on his Thunder Dao. He grasped the 5-element Divine Lightning, and the 10,000 Tribulation Divine Lightning hidden in his Sea of Consciousness. Xiaochen's Thunder Dao was not much weaker than his Saber Dao. Every time the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation broke through a layer, Xiaochen had to undergo a lightning tribulation. The 11th lightning tribulation would definitely be extremely terrifying, but if he could survive it, he would definitely be able to survive it. However, if Xiao Chen successfully cleared it, his understanding of the Thunder Dao would definitely reach a new level. The Thunder Dao domain would be within his grasp. If everything went according to plan, Xiao Chen would be able to advance to great perfection sovereign personage and grasp the Thunder Dao domain within 10 days. At that time, the increase in strength would not be just a little bit. Even if Xiao Chen did not bring out all his trump cards, he would have a 60% chance of defeating Gong Liangyu. Cultivation was secondary. The most important thing was the Dao domain. Without a Dao domain, Xiao Chen would be at a disadvantage. With the Earth Dao domain, Gong Liangyu would naturally be undefeatable when facing Xiao Chen. There would come a time when he could turn things around. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor is right. If I rely on core doyens to enter the Heavenly Alliance, I will definitely face many restrictions and not have much freedom. Actually, this is not in line with my character. I can only grasp the initiative by relying on myself. A brilliant light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. At this moment, his heart was clear. After thinking it through, he felt relaxed. More importantly, Xiao Chen also felt proud in his heart. Everyone believed that he was too young and would find it hard to pass this Heavenly Alliance's test. Since everyone believed that he could not rely on his own strength to enter the Heavenly Alliance, then he would prove it to everyone. Even if he was only 47 years old, he could still rely on his own strength to enter the Heavenly Alliance. As long as one lived, one had to possess inextinguishable confidence. Why can't I do the same? Divine Universe Steel. With a thought, the Divine Universe Steel flew out of Xiao Chen's body. Then his figure flashed and entered the steel. The Dao platform in the steel was even larger than Desolate City's Starry Heavens Dao platform. A blood moon hung high above the Dao platform. Whoosh! Xiao Chen turned into a beam of light and directly entered the blood moon. Then, the Divine Universe Steel in the room vanished into thin air. A white figure slowly descended from the blood moon in the Blue Dragon Ancient City's secret realm. The black and white eggs, the two chatterboxes, boasted excitedly on top of a dilapidated, ancient palace. Black Egg looked up and exclaimed somewhat excitedly, "Look! Is Egg back?" White Egg looked in the direction Black Egg pointed. "Ha! It really is Egg. He probably needs a beating. Come. I can't wait anymore." Chapter 2102. The Land of the Blood Moon. Before Xiao Chen landed, he saw the black and white eggs flying towards him. "It has only been a short while. Why are you coming back already?" Black Egg asked Xiao Chen after landing, feeling it was strange. White Egg cackled and said, "Could it be that you are really asking for a beating?" Xiao Chen said, "With your current strength, you are not a match for me. If anyone is going to be beaten up, it will be me." "Nonsense. Come. Let's have a spar." The black and white eggs immediately felt unconvinced. They took up a stance, wanting to fight Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and said, "There's no rush. I will fight you after I break through to Great Perfection Sovereign Personage and grasp a Dao domain. When you reach Great Perfection Sovereign Personage, we can adjust our strength to peak Sovereign Personage. If we work together, we can be considered unrivaled among sovereign personages. Are you sure you want to fight us?" The black and white eggs gave Xiao Chen strange looks. They were both foe gods and would always be one cultivation level higher than Xiao Chen. "Is that so? I look forward to it. I hope that you can give me a pleasant surprise." A fighting spirit flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes as he said seriously, "The stronger the black and white eggs were, the higher his chances of clearing the second stage would be. Are you serious? How did you manage to obtain so many resources in such a short time? Could it be that you are being chased and are hiding here?" Xiao Chen looked around and chose a place to break through. Then he said casually, "I borrowed resources from others. I will have to return them in the future." The black and white eggs chatted softly as they watched Xiao Chen leave, finding it strange. He is in too much of a rush. I wonder what he experienced outside for him to want to break through to Great Perfection Sovereign Personage now. Right. Although he reached the bottleneck of Small Perfection Sovereign Personage long ago, his chances of breaking through will be much higher after a few years. Let's wait. I hope nothing happens to Egg. Otherwise, it will not be fun. Breaking through to great perfection sovereign personage was definitely risky. If one failed, one would have to recuperate for several months at best. The Heavenly Alliance's test was filled with experts and experts. Xiaochen cut off all means of retreat, staking everything on one throw. In any case, Xiaochen no longer had a way out. If he did not advance to great perfection sovereign personage and grasp a Dao domain, he basically had no hope of passing the test. Since that was the case, he might as well go all out. Breaking through in the land of the Blood Moon was actually more difficult than in the outside world, because the spirit qi there was much sparser. However, the benefits were also very obvious. It was quiet enough, and there was nothing to be afraid of, no commotion. Xiaochen chose a spot and laid a spirit-gathering formation. Then he casually waved his hand, and more than 10 million primeval heavenly pills immediately spread over the formation. The dense spiritual energy scattered everywhere, but it was all absorbed by the spirit-gathering formation, not a single bit dissipating. Xiaochen's figure flashed, and he landed in the center of the formation. Primeval heavenly pills floated around him. Closing his eyes, he sat down cross-legged and began to circulate his energy. The tens of thousands of primeval heavenly pills immediately sank and entered the spirit-gathering formation. Then the formation compressed and condensed it, surging into Xiaochen's body in the center of the formation. Wave after wave of impact. Spiritual energy flowed through his meridians and surged over like ferocious beasts. An ordinary sovereign personage's physical body would not have been able to endure such an impact. However, Xiaochen had an acquired divine body. He calmly allowed his body to withstand the impact and directed the spiritual energy into his primal core. When a martial artist cultivated, the Yuan Dan was the vessel. To put it simply, it was to make the container bigger and stronger. But in reality, it was much more complicated. A breakthrough in cultivation. Not only could it withstand more true essence, but most importantly, it could also change the quality of true essence, making it more condensed and vigorous. True essence was the foundation of all martial skills, cultivation methods, and secret techniques. If two people had the same cultivation methods, martial skills, and mystic techniques, if the quality of their true essence was different, then there would be a clear difference in strength. Sovereign personage had 4 stages. Every breakthrough was as difficult as ascending to heaven. If not for the fact that Xiaochen was exceptionally talented, possessed the great desolate era bloodline, and had cultivated the acquired divine body, he would not have been able to survive. It was impossible for Xiaochen to have a chance to break through to great perfection sovereign personage within 4 years. Time passed slowly. Xiaochen's breakthrough to great perfection sovereign personage did not go smoothly. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. Xiaochen had exhausted 30 million primeval heavenly pills. During this time, Xiaochen ran into many dangerous situations. His complexion flickered and his life force weakened. This worried the black and white eggs, who were watching from afar. I have to use the cloud-breaking pill. Xiaochen flicked his finger and took out the rank 7 cloud-breaking pill that the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor gave him. When the cloud-breaking pill entered Xiaochen's mouth, it melted like a clump of flame, instantly igniting the spiritual energy in his body. The intensity of his spiritual energy instantly increased several-fold. After using the cloud-breaking pill, he had to use it in one go, staking it all on one throw. Otherwise, once the spiritual energy was extinguished, all his previous efforts would be for naught, leaving him with no way out. This egg is really worrying, Black Egg said somewhat worriedly. The best way to make a breakthrough is to wait for the conditions to be right. There is no need to forcefully break through. Egg can do that. However, she is in too much of a rush. If she uses resources to forcefully break through, she will have to bear this risk, White Egg said softly. White Egg said softly. Its tone was similarly filled with unconcealable worry. Although the 2 combat puppets were heartless and did not hold back when they beat up Xiaochen, they had known each other for a few years. However, they had known each other for a few years after all. They had some feelings for each other, so they did not want anything to happen to him. Boom. Just as the 2 discussed, A terrifying might and pressure suddenly erupted from Xiao Chen's body. A dragon roar resounded in the surroundings from his body. Xiao Chen's aura underwent a drastic change, undergoing a complete transformation. Great perfection, sovereign personage. Egg succeeded. The black and white eggs immediately rejoiced. Their figures flashed as they prepared to congratulate Xiao Chen. Even though Xiao Chen had been stuck at a bottleneck for 2 years and already had deep accumulations, and the help of the cloud-breaking pill, he might not be able to break through. Even if he could not successfully break through, there was still only a 50-50 chance of success. It was indeed worth celebrating. Wait a moment. Black egg quickly pulled white egg back and retreated at the same time. In the next moment, tribulation clouds gathered in the surroundings. Soon, surging thunderclouds flickered with electric light above Xiao Chen's head, radiating out continuously. Soon these black thunderclouds, which gave off an incomparably suppressive feeling, covered most of the sky above the land of the Blood Moon. Even the Blood Moon was covered. The secret realm of the Blue Dragon ancient city turned pitch black. The black and white eggs only stopped after retreating a long distance. They appeared incredibly shocked. What is going on? Lightning tribulation? Egg is really going all out. She already broke through to great perfection, sovereign personage. To think that she still wants to go further. It might be some kind of cultivation technique. However, why does this lightning tribulation feel ridiculously strong? The black and white eggs muttered softly. They discovered that the thunderclouds in the sky were no ordinary tribulation clouds. Even they felt some fear and unease. The strength of this lightning tribulation was somewhat terrifying. It is still storing up power. This lightning tribulation is somewhat exaggerated. The entire land of the Blood Moon suddenly turned incredibly suppressive. The churning thunderclouds in the sky looked majestic, like they could swallow up everything. The black thunderclouds were incredibly dense, like the vast sea hanging in the sky, undulating. This was the lightning tribulation that the purple thunder divine incantation needed to undergo to break through to the 11th layer. After breaking through this lightning tribulation, Xiao Chen's purple thunder divine incantation would reach the highest layer, the 12th layer. This was the final lightning tribulation of the purple thunder divine incantation. Xiao Chen could only undergo this tribulation when he was a great perfection sovereign personage. If he was a small perfection sovereign personage, there would be no hope at all. Suddenly, 2 bolts of black lightning appeared in the sky, tearing through the darkness. They were like the evil claws of a ferocious beast in the thunderclouds as they charged at the black and white eggs. Bang! The black and white eggs shattered into pieces, scattering all over the ground. Whoosh! It was not over yet. Another 2 bolts of lightning descended from the sky, blasting at the pieces on the ground. This startled the black and white eggs, who had been pretending to be dead. They quickly reformed and fled. Let's go. The black and white eggs felt stunned as they quickly retreated. They kept retreating until they nearly reached the borders of this secret realm. Only then did the black and white eggs truly avoid the pursuit of the lightning bolts and get chased out. Why do I feel somewhat uneasy? White egg looked at the thunderclouds in the sky somewhat nervously. Then it looked at Xiao Chen, who was in the middle of the thunderclouds. This tribulation lightning is truly unheard of. Given the structure of this secret realm, it is impossible for it to have such terrifying lightning-attributed spiritual energy. I can only say that Egg's cultivation technique triggered the martial epic's origin tribulation lightning, ignoring the existence of this secret realm. As the black and white eggs discussed, the desolate slave soul reaper had appeared on the city walls at some point in time, looking at Xiao Chen in confusion. In the Blue Dragon ancient city, the Blue Dragon statue suddenly appeared in the mountain range where the ancient Dao platform was. The Blue Dragon statue swam around the mountain range, its spiritual eyes looking at the thunderclouds, filled with confusion. Rumble. The dragon spirit controlled the ancient Blue Dragon statue to swim around continuously until its entire body emerged from the mountain range. The countless wandering dragon souls in the city entered the Blue Dragon statue. In the next moment, the Blue Dragon statue used its colossal body to encase the entire Blue Dragon ancient city. Even when the golden armored army attacked, the dragon spirit did not make a move. However, now it seemed to fear that this tribulation lightning would affect the Blue Dragon ancient city, so it used its final trump card. Chapter 2103. After clearing the final layer of the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation, it would be the 12th layer of the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation. At that time, when the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation reached the 12th layer, it would be at peak consummation. The cultivation technique that had accompanied Xiaochen for 47 years would also reach its peak. Xiaochen had experienced the danger of the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation's lightning tribulation long ago. He had narrowly escaped death several times. If it wasn't for Ao Jiao blocking the last lightning tribulation for him, Xiaochen would have died without a doubt. The final lightning tribulation would definitely be extremely dangerous, with only a slim chance of survival. However, Xiaochen did not feel any fear in his heart. He was no longer the same as when he first underwent his tribulation in the Sky Dome realm. He had already undergone his tribulation several times. Furthermore, he was already a great perfection sovereign personage, and had cultivated his Thunder Great Tao to the peak. If nothing unexpected happened, he was very confident of clearing the final lightning tribulation of the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation. Thunderclouds rolled in the sky, creating a myriad of phenomena. Sometimes it was like tens of thousands of horses galloping, sometimes it was like angry waves roaring, and sometimes it was like thousands of troops passing through. "He's here," Xiaochen exclaimed softly and opened his eyes. Suddenly, a bright light appeared in front of him. It was a bolt of lightning that descended from the sky. It tore through the darkness and illuminated all directions. Xiaochen's expression was calm. He closed his eyes again and allowed the lightning to fall on his body. Hua! In an instant, the lightning on Xiaochen's body was dazzling, erupting with a light comparable to the sun. In the distance, the black and white eggs felt slightly surprised. Xiaochen had cultivated the Blue Dragon Divine Body and awakened it again. He had already reached 20% of a pure-blooded blue dragon. With just the strength of his physical body, he would be able to withstand a few lightning tribulations. After all, this was just the beginning. The best part was yet to come. That's right. Preserve your true essence and soul power. I don't know how many waves of lightning tribulation there will be. If my quintessential essence and soul power dry up at the end, it will be very troublesome. White Egg nodded slightly and said softly. However, a trace of doubt appeared in Black White's eyes. She said in a deep voice, "Strange. Why is it different from what we thought?" "White Egg, look." What happened? A Tao disc appeared behind Xiaochen, who was bathed in the light of the tribulation lightning. That was the Tao circle of the great Tao of thunder. As the power of the thunder tribulation poured into it, it shone with divine light. The sky was filled with boundless thunderclouds that resembled an upside-down ocean. The waves roared angrily, and it was a majestic sight. Lightning flashed in the sky, and strong winds howled. It was dark and stifling. Sand and pebbles flew everywhere on the ground. The dust was like snow, dancing wildly in the wind. Endless sand swept through the entire secret realm. However, under the contrast of this Tao ring, Xiaochen was quiet and peaceful amidst this dangerous and oppressive phenomenon. He was like a saint bathed in divine light. He is using the lightning tribulation to break through to the Tao domain. White Egg was startled. It had not expected Xiaochen to be so ambitious. To think that Xiaochen dared to split his attention while undergoing his tribulation, using tribulation lightning to break through his Thunder Tao domain. However, Xiaochen was indeed a genius. He used tribulation lightning to stimulate his Tao domain to make a breakthrough. Was there a more effective method in the world than this? The miraculous effects of divine pills and natural treasures were not as direct as tribulation lightning. The only thing was that once Xiaochen went overboard, he would end up losing himself. Rumble. Tribulation lightning descended in waves. Thousands of mysterious phenomena appeared in this land of the blood moon. Xiaochen closed his eyes and endured, not blocking at all, letting the tribulation lightning baptize his physical body. The terrifying tribulation lightning inflicted unimaginable pain on Xiaochen's physical body. Each baptism looked resplendent and dignified, but in reality, It was even more painful than being hacked into pieces. This was because Xiaochen could not block it at all. It was like a soldier taking off his armor and walking through a rain of arrows. Slowly, the Dao might on Xiaochen's body grew stronger. The aura radiated by the Dao disc formed an invisible barrier for Xiaochen. He's betting all his hopes on his Thunder Great Path. If his Thunder Great Dao cannot break through to the Dao domain, he will definitely die under the Tribulation Lightning. How ruthless. Black Egg sighed softly, its tone filled with worry. The benefit of giving up on resisting was that the Tribulation Lightning's energy could perfectly infuse into his Great Dao energy. This allowed Xiaochen to rely on the Tribulation Lightning to break through bottlenecks to the greatest extent. However, the drawback was clear. Right now, Xiaochen could only rely on his physical body and Dao might to block the Tribulation Lightning. It was very possible that the Tribulation Lightning would strike him to death before he comprehended a Dao domain. The second wave of Tribulation Lightning is here. White Egg looked at the sky. An impenetrable electric black hole had already formed above Xiaochen's head. Through the black hole, Xiaochen could vaguely see a sea of pure Tribulation Lightning inside. The black hole spun continuously, storing up power for the second wave of Tribulation Lightning. Right after White Egg spoke, many lightning-materialized weapons flew out from the sky at Xiaochen. There were spears, sabers, swords, moons and all sorts of weapons flying at Xiaochen. Each lightning-materialized weapon contained a deep Dao, even more terrifying than a real Dao tool. Kasi. In the next moment, thousands of weapons attacked. Xiaochen opened his eyes and tightly clenched his right fist. Xiaochen's veritable essence energy and vital qi surged, and an indistinct 10,000 dragons picture appeared behind him. However, when the lightning Dao tools were about to charge over, determination flashed in Xiaochen's eyes, and he slowly loosened his right fist. Xiaochen allowed the thousands of lightning Dao tools to attack his physical body. Come! Bang! 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 Explosions immediately rang out on the surface of Xiaochen's body. Every explosion was startling, leaving horrifying wounds on Xiaochen's body. However, Xiaochen clenched his teeth and did not make a sound, enduring it silently. When this wave of Tribulation Lightning was over, Xiaochen's body was riddled with holes. There was practically no place left unscathed. Xiaochen's entire body was charred black, a terrible sight to behold. He looked like a beggar in a sorry state. Only the Dao disc behind Xiaochen remained holy, giving off an even more resplendent light. The hazy Dao might strengthen significantly again. It's still not enough. Xiaochen sensed his Dao domain, and discovered that it was still an indiscernible door away from the Dao domain. He still could not break that door. It was something that could be seen but not reached. It made one feel helpless and somewhat despair. When others comprehend the Dao domain, it takes at least 100 years, at most 400 to 500 years. That is if they have good talent. I do not have that much time, so I can only continue like this. I can only gamble with the Tribulation Lightning's power. I have to believe in myself. A determined light flashed in Xiaochen's eyes. Then he used his later Heaven Divine body to quickly recover his physical body. Even in despair and helplessness, he could not give up hope. Xiaochen's physical body had just recovered when the third wave of Tribulation Lightning charged over. This time, the Tribulation Lightning that descended materialized many famous mountains and great rivers. The Tribulation Lightning mercilessly rained down on Xiaochen, suppressing the world. Boom! 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 The speed at which the thunderous mountain fell was like hailstones. They did not give Xiaochen a chance to catch his breath. Soon this lightning mountain pressed him into the ground. Strong winds howled, and sand flew for 5,000 kilometers around. The lightning mountains continuously crashed down, not giving Xiaochen a chance to catch his breath. Xiaochen saw the lightning mountains descend continuously, completely drowning out Xiaochen's figure. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. He can't be dead, right? White Egg's heart skipped a beat, startled by this scene. However, it could not help wanting to charge forward. However, Black Egg held it back. Black Egg said seriously, "Don't act rashly. Look, that old dragon is not moving." Black Egg looked around and saw the eyes of the blue dragon statue, surrounding the ancient city, flickering with spiritual light as it stared at the lightning mountains, not moving at all. Boom! All of a sudden, a beam of light burst forth. A terrifying Dao aura shattered the descending lightning mountain into pieces. A figure soared into the air in the darkness, showing a determined and expressionless face. It was Xiaochen. Xiaochen's Thunder Dao was one step closer to a Dao domain. Now he could clearly see what that invisible door looked like. Xiaochen's comprehension increased, and his Dao might instantly strengthened, blocking the descending lightning mountains. Xiaochen made good use of his time to recover from his injuries, not daring to waste a single second. Soon, the fourth wave of tribulation lightning descended. This time, huge cauldrons containing Dao charm descended. Xiaochen's physical body had just recovered. Before he could forget the pain from the lightning mountains, he had to endure the damage from the huge cauldrons. Fifth wave, sixth wave, seventh wave. Every time there was a lightning tribulation, Xiaochen thought that he would be struck down. However, he always managed to stand up at the last moment. Using his strong blue dragon divine body, Xiaochen forcefully endured the waves of tribulation lightning. Others only felt that Xiaochen had relied on luck to clear the first stage against Gong Liangyu. However, no one knew how much Xiaochen had paid to get to where he was today. In the secret realm, no one knew what kind of bitterness and persistence Xiaochen had hidden behind his shocking trump cards. After forcefully enduring the seventh wave of tribulation lightning, Xiaochen's physical body could no longer recover. His injuries accumulated continuously. His body was destroyed and healed over and over again. Even after awakening his blue dragon divine body once, he was somewhat lacking, unable to provide much help to Xiaochen. The eighth wave of tribulation lightning arrived. Formless lightning. Xiaochen, who was preparing to deal with the tribulation lightning, suddenly cried out miserably. To think that the tribulation lightning of this stage was hidden in the wind, in the air. It was formless and invisible and untouchable. However, it was everywhere. The wind blew gently, and thousands of tribulation lightning streaked across Xiaochen's body like knives. This wave of tribulation lightning was unblockable, unheard of or seen before. Oh no! White Egg could not help exclaiming. This is the formless lightning that Master once mentioned. Even if Xiaochen uses his full power, he might not be able to endure it. He has to give up on breaking through to the Dao domain. Otherwise, he will die for sure. Chapter 2104. The formless lightning was shadowless and formless. There was nowhere to hide, nowhere to hide. Xiaochen clenched his teeth and did his best to maintain his calm, maintaining the Thunder Great Dao. He had never seen such tribulation lightning before. He had not even heard of it. Xiaochen did not know how to deal with it. If this continued, this formless lightning would slowly grind his physical body into dust, not leaving anything behind. Calm down. Calm down. At the critical moment, Xiaochen stabilized his emotions. This concerned his life and death. He needed to think of a way to deal with the formless lightning. Xiaochen's thoughts raced. Thousands of ideas appeared in his mind in an instant. First, the formless lightning was definitely a false proposition. If it were truly formless, it would not hurt him. How to deal with it was the key. Did it merge with the wind? Xiaochen thought of this possibility. The wind moved slightly, and his physical body felt like it was being cut by a knife. This was the most direct explanation. If that was the case, there was a way to block it. Xiaochen took a deep breath, and his vital qi surged. Enduring the intense pain, his entire body trembled ferociously. Bang! A strong wind blew on the surface of Xiaochen's body, forming an invisible wind wall in front of him. Ka, ka, ka. The terrifying lightning of the 5 stars arrived again, but it was ineffective. Xiaochen could not help screaming again. Wrong. I thought wrong. The formless lightning did not merge the tribulation lightning with the wind. Am I going to give up? Continuing to maintain the Dao domain, and letting his physical body endure the lightning tribulation to break through to the Dao domain seemed somewhat unrealistic. If he lost his life, what Dao domain was there? Damn it. However, Xiaochen was not willing to give up like this. After enduring 7 waves of tribulation lightning, His physical body had suffered unimaginable pain. After much difficulty, his Thunder Great Tao approached the Tao domain. If Xiao Chun gave up on this opportunity, who knew when he would get another chance to break through to the Tao domain? The black and white eggs felt anxious. Right now, Xiao Chun's physical body continuously suffered the torture of the formless lightning in the air. This eighth wave of tribulation lightning was somewhat ridiculous. Xiao Chun's physical body already reached the brink of collapse at any moment. I already came this far. I absolutely cannot give up. Wasn't the path of a martial artist just like that? Since ancient times, those who had established the hegemony of a dynasty, the ambitious and ruthless people of their generation, had all walked back and forth between life and death countless times. Xiao Chun thought to himself, I have to find the mystery behind the formless lightning. If it wasn't melted into the wind, then where was this invisible lightning hidden? Thoughts flashed through Xiao Chun's mind like lightning. In an instant, thousands of ideas popped up, and then he rejected them one by one. Suddenly, a bright light flashed in Xiao Chun's mind, and he suddenly remembered. Space. That's right, it had to be space. This invisible lightning had perfectly fused with space. It had nothing to do with the wind. This wave of thunder tribulation was a perfect fusion of the great path of thunder and the great path of space, which was why it was invisible. However, knowing was one thing, but how to avoid it was the key. Right now, the most important thing was that his physical body couldn't hold on much longer. He had to buy some time for his physical body. Think of a way, I can do it, I can do it, I can definitely do it. Under the torture of the invisible lightning, Xiao Chun clenched his teeth and his eyes turned red. He stubbornly refused to admit defeat. Death God Mask. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiao Chun thought of the Death God Mask he obtained. Without even thinking, he quickly took it out. Aside from isolating one's aura, the Death God Mask also had two secret techniques: the Soul Attack, Death God Chop, and Void Shadow. Whoosh! After executing the secret technique, Void Shadow, Xiao Chun's physical body slowly turned illusory and vanished. Xiao Chun's illusory state was extremely short, just 2 or 3 seconds. However, these 2 or 3 precious seconds, gave Xiao Chun a chance to catch his breath, pulling his physical body back from the brink of collapse. When Xiao Chun reappeared, a portion of his physical injuries had already recovered. He had narrowly escaped death. Xiao Chun was like wild grass that had regained new life, showing vigorous life force. Under the mask, his eyes filled with determination and calmness. After executing the secret technique once, I won't be able to execute it again for a while. I can only rely on myself now. Xiao Chun calmly analyzed the situation. Since he had merged with space, it was already impossible to avoid it. All that remained was to quickly break through to the Tao domain while his newly recovered physical body could still last for a while. Right now, his physical body could last for another 15 minutes under the assault of this formless lightning. 15 minutes is enough. If I do not break through to the Tao domain in 15 minutes, then I can only blame my bad luck and fate. After figuring this out, Xiao Chun's heart calmed down again. The terrifying mysterious phenomena in the surroundings, and the horrifying lightning black hole hiding above could not disrupt his emotions. After removing the Death God Mask, Xiao Chun sat down cross-legged and started his final gamble. The formless lightning tribulation brought destructive damage to the physical body. However, it was also of great help to breaking through to the Tao domain. Xiao Chun could clearly sense that every bolt of formless lightning could loosen the bottleneck of his Tao domain. The heavenly Tao was merciless. The formless lightning continued to torture Xiao Chun coldly. In the distance, the black and white eggs did not know what to say when they saw that Xiao Chun still persisted. At the crucial moment, the black and white eggs could not help Xiao Chun. They could only pray for Xiao Chun. At the place where the tribulation took place, Xiao Chun's newly recovered physical body quickly became riddled with holes and injuries. However, the Tao disc behind him remained resplendent and dazzling from start to finish, flickering with light. At this moment, the brilliance of the Tao ring was extremely bright. It gave the feeling of a silkworm about to break out of its cocoon, putting in its final effort and struggle. It looks like he is about to break through. White Egg said joyfully as it watched the Tao disc behind Xiaochen slowly close up. This wave of tribulation lightning will be over soon. Good things came in pairs. The Tao disc behind Xiaochen slowly closed up and condensed into a spot. The light that the Tao disc gave off made this dark world look like it was daytime. The 8th wave of tribulation lightning also slowly faded at this moment, significantly weakening. Good. This is good. As long as Xiaochen breaks through to the Tao domain, the veritable essence energy and soul energy that he saved will be more than enough for him to clear the final wave of tribulation lightning. The black and white eggs rejoiced. Normally, tribulation lightning was split into 9 waves. After 9 waves, it would be over. After persisting for so long, Xiaochen was finally going to get what he wanted. Boom. However, before the 8th wave of tribulation lightning completely faded, the 9th wave of tribulation lightning suddenly descended without any warning. The 9th wave of lightning tribulation suddenly descended, faster than anyone's reaction time. A vast sea turned into silver light and poured down from the terrifying lightning black hole in the sky. The vast sea was made of pure tribulation lightning. The speed at which it fell could not be measured with common sense. Whoosh! In an instant, the sea of lightning buried Xiaochen and spread out further. Rumble! The ocean waves surged. This was a sea of thunder and lightning. The black hole in the dome continuously poured the water down. It looked like a hole had appeared in the sky, and the silver seawater poured down like lightning. There was no end to it. The black and white eggs were flabbergasted as they watched the sea swallow up Xiaochen, who could not react at all. Let's go. When the black and white eggs startled to their senses, they discovered that Wang Xi was about to drown the entire secret realm. A terrifying sea of lightning surged in all directions like a flood. The tribulation lightning transformed into an ocean, forming this boundless ocean. No one knew how terrifying its might was. Feeling anxious, the black and white eggs leaped up and flew towards the blue dragon statue. In this mystic realm, there was no place that could guarantee absolute safety. Only the blue dragon statue that enveloped the entire ancient city was slightly safer. The water spread in all directions, and soon, the entire mystic realm became a vast ocean. Even the blue dragon statue was engulfed in an ocean of lightning. The black and white eggs stood on the dragon's head, feeling somewhat stunned and speechless. At this moment, the 2 chatterboxes did not know what to say. The boundless ocean was the 9th wave of tribulation lightning. If there had been any living beings in this mystic realm, all of them would have died in that moment. The black clouds in the sky slowly scattered, and the lightning black hole slowly mended. The terrifying mysterious phenomenon vanished. After the storm passed, the blood moon still enveloped this world. What cultivation technique does Egg cultivate? The formless lightning is already terrifying enough. However, what exactly is this 9th wave of tribulation lightning? A vast ocean appeared. The black and white eggs said softly. The scene before them already surpassed their understanding. Back when they followed their master, they had never experienced such a lightning tribulation, so they knew nothing about it. This is a lightning sea from the primal chaos space. It is normal that you 2 fools do not know about it. Just at this moment, another voice rang out beside the black and white eggs, startling them. When White Egg reacted and realized that it was the blue dragon statue's dragon spirit speaking, it retorted with an upset expression. Who says we do not know? We just do not want to say. Stop being so long-winded. If you continue, I will toss you 2 down. The black and white eggs quickly shut up. There was a lightning sea below. Although the 2 would not die if they went down, they were not willing to suffer such torture. Egg, do we still have a chance to survive? Black Egg asked carefully after a moment of silence. If you comprehend the Thunder Dao domain at the last moment, you should be able to survive. The 2 of you are forged from divine materials, and do not have physical bodies. You can go down and take a look, the dragon spirit said after some thought. It wanted the black and white eggs to go down and take a look. Whether Xiaochen lived or died, it had to figure out what was going on. Upon hearing that they wanted to go down the lightning sea, the black and white eggs immediately started pushing the responsibility around. Black Egg asked White Egg to go down, and White Egg asked Black Egg to go down. T, E, T. As the two argued endlessly, piercing sparks of electricity rang out. The desolate slave soul reaper leaped into the lightning sea. A wave of lightning splashed out, and the water splashed onto its huge body, crackling and flickering. The desolate slave soul reaper pretended not to hear anything. It walked on the lightning sea, heading for where Xiao Chun underwent his tribulation. All right, silly egg is going down. The two of us do not need to go down. The black and white eggs immediately rejoiced and stopped arguing, watching quietly. How noisy! The two of you should go down and help as well. The dragon's spirit snorted coldly and shook its hand. The black and white eggs let out startled cries as they fell into the lightning sea. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.